a low block on that Titanic capture. With that, unless Jacob can pass another move as you stare across from this Titanic capture, both of these players are going to be taking a tie here.
I think we're getting the fist bump out to say, all right.
There it is. And that is Jacob Masur surviving and proving that you can beat this Keyleth deck. But George really showcasing what this deck is all about in that game 1. Both of these players, I think, are very fine with a tie here for their contention still in top cuts. But I'm so glad that we got to watch George pilot this and showcase what this deck can do. But both of these players are going to have to do a very good job for the rest of these tournament because we still have 2 more rounds to go today for both of them.
Yeah, I just need to say what I want to see next more often on the air, and then we actually get it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to see what this top cut could look like. I mean, both of these players, this potentially is not the last time that we will see them.
I also think that we've talked a lot about what the state of the game right now and how we are getting these, and we've seen it on stream, we are getting these longer games. It is a slower game outside of some of the few hybrid aggro decks. So this deck that George has brought is playing into that, right? Is if you're going to build a long stage, a wide stage, and you're going to wait till late game, I'm going to build a wider one, and I'm just going to do it better.
And I think George's deck will do it better unless the inevitability of what some of these other decks are doing is strictly better and good at wall breaking, this kind of stuff. But again, George is playing his own stuff to still combat against that. So it is a fun and interesting deck. Well, because of this, no interview. I'll make that. What? Good with what? Oh yeah, I mean, I'm assuming I'm still live. What do you mean? Yeah. Anyway, because if it was a draw, there would be no winner interview. And but we can, however, look at our top 16 snapshot of what this round looked like before at the top of the round. So we're gonna look at round 6's top 16 players, or tables, I should say. And as you can see, we grabbed this Keyleth deck from table 11, which means there were 10 tables above them. There's a Rodan off happening at table 10. You know. This one to me, I think, is very exciting.
Yeah.
At table 9, you have 2 Godzilla characters. I'm interested to know the result of that one. Alexa still doing a great job. We saw her playing King Ghidorah yesterday. Justin Martin, we had earlier on stream, got paired against Andrew Porat. So interested in that one as well. Ryan Levine, the only top running Armor All Might. Nelson A, though, is at table 12, having to go against one of those King of the Monsters. But Gavin Kale on that 3-headed monster.
Yeah, and then surprising to me, we have that Deku on the move.
Yeah, it's Midoriya.
Yep. Over there at table 1. I think for me that is the biggest surprise outside of this Keyleth deck, that it is all the way up there at table 1.
Hey, there's your boy Calvin Hahn making it still up here, table 13. You know, still in the running here with all for one. So as the day has kind of progressed, and especially with that Rodan mirror happening right there, and there's another mirror happening with Nathan DeWalt and Mike W on table 5. So 2 of these Rodans are gonna like knock out of this sort of kind of contention, not from the tournament. I'm not saying that, but like we see a lot of Rodan representation right now, and just like how the ponies got paired against each other earlier in this tournament, now Rodans are getting paired into each other. So this is looking to shape up into a pretty diverse top half of the tournament right now, as we only have 2 rounds left. And remember, there are results for all of this that occurred.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm excited to see how this shakes out and see what day 2 looks like tomorrow. You know what else I'm excited for, Barrett?
More alternate art ultra rares?
More alternate art ultra rares coming up in the upcoming.
You can't steal my segues. I'm too good at it. I'm too good. That's good. That's good. Yeah, so we got some more Tekken 8 alternate art ultra rares, because that's how many ultra rares are in this set. We've got more stuff to show you. We've got Electric Wind God Fist, Earth Sign Might, and Phoenix Stance. Now, of course, these ones are actions and the one attack from the Electric Wind God Fist. And remember, the Electric Wind God Fist has that promo version as well from the LCs, correct?
Yes. I mean, we talked a lot. I want to look at Earth Sign Might. We talked a lot throughout this tournament of how strong target flipping, target committal, target seal is. And here we have one that target flips an asset or foundation that you're worried about, and then also granting your attack or their attack plus or minus damage, and it equaling the number of face down foundations in your rival stage +1.
Love that card.
Yep.
Love that card so much, and it's actually pretty interesting and good. Well, we just saw the Keyleth deck that George was talking about, because again, it would function as a damage reduction tool as well, as long as you're doing this game plan of trying to control their stage. And again, like we said, there's just a lot of flip effects in the game right now. And then, of course, the Phoenix stance.
Air needed more clearing. I mean, this is great. It's exactly what Passival needed.
Pony players rejoice. And remember, it has another ability from that discard pile that we were also talking about, which is when you do clear one of them, you can actually add it to your momentum. But, of course, you need a hit token on your stage to do so. So that kind of extra bonus effect. But that's going to be it for these Tekken 8 Ultra Rare Alt Art. But, of course, you can pull these Ultra Rares if you go and get some Tekken 8 product, which comes out August 14th. So make sure you go to your pre-release, which is the week before that, and then, of course, the release itself. And, of course, if you're at Gen Con, come say hi. We'll go have some Tekken 8 product there for a super, super pre-release. And it looks like, let me read. We will also, in case you're just now joining us for today, we are going to showcase once again the Atlanta casters that are going to be there. As production gave me a weird look. And it's weird that, of course, that I'm announcing it once again, as I will be there once again back in action. And I'll be joined with Constantine, your Buffalo regional winner from last year, and Jesse Cervini also making a return. That, of course, is at September 18th. So if you make sure you want to show up, you can sign up early, of course. And Tekken 8 will be legal for that event.
Yeah, I'm super excited to watch. It's going to be great to see a regional event at this level with some new cards, with an actual full set in the card pool, and see how that shakes up the meta and how that changes. And also what it does to current meta viable decks like the Pony deck. I cannot wait.
You know what else I can't wait for? Round 7. And with that, we're going to cut away for a quick break. As the time in the round has been called, we've been Tito and Barrett, but we got round 7 of the Dallas Regional here coming up for you right after this.
Welcome back, everybody. We're now ready for round 7 of the Dallas Regional for UniVersus, and I couldn't be more excited. We've got players that are fighting for their tournament life. We went down the top tables. There's a lot of IDs happening. There's also quite a few players playing to try and get that top seed, to try and go first throughout top cuts. But they are a lot of players that we've already seen, like Jacob Monsieur. We got to see Justin already and things like that. A lot of repeat decks. I'm not going to lie to you. There's a lot of Pony versus Rodan at the top tables right now.
We just kind of saw the opposite, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Well, so
you guys just watched Anguirus versus Keyleth, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But on the graphic that we had, and we'll have another one at the end of this, but we had two. So early on in the day, we had ponies getting paired against each other, and so some of them had kind of knocked them below. And then this last round, we had 2 top instances of Rodans getting paired against each other. So now the Rodans are kind of starting to knock each other out. But there's representation of all of these characters, and then there's like a weird, nice little soup in between.
Yeah, but there's just a lot of characters and a lot of players we had already seen going on at the top tables. So we are going to get a little bit of a repeat of characters. We're trying to keep it as different as we can. However, these are 2 players that are going to be fighting for their tournament lives here. We've got King Ghidorah, 3-headed monster on one side, but this time on the all symbol.
All symbol here. And then Mitchell Chimino on the other end. Order symbol, of course, because that it's very strong. Of course, I think of cards of like Koenma's Task and being able to use that in its very special way, because you can do the extra trick where you can get even a bonus one sometimes because of the Mitchell zone. But King Ghidorah is going to be going first here.
And that means, because it's the order symbol, no Queen of the Monsters in this matchup.
Yeah, none at all.
We are keeping Queen of the Monsters away from you guys. We know how much you hate that card. We know how much nobody wants to play it or see it.
It is bad for Tito and I's friendly wager, though. It's not looking too good for him, because I did pick under. And, yeah. Anyway.
At the beginning of the day, I definitely said that that we were going to see a ton of it, and then we've managed to either see the Queen decks get kind of stomped, they check them all, or they haven't been on stream, but that is not a bad thing.
No,
that's a good thing.
I'm sure we will still see an amount of it tomorrow, of course. But build 3 here for the side of Gavin, and then passing it back to Elijah, going for this build 4, and it does check, passes back on to turn 3. Hopefully we see a little bit of action. I'm excited to see what this attack package is for the all symbol here on Gavin for this, because I'm always interested in what Gavin wants to play, because Gavin's pretty good, and he's a good aggro player, and so I'm interested in the 5 hand size aggro here. But Blood-Sucking Universe being the first one here.
Yeah, the main thing I know about Gavin decks is they typically pile on the damage. They're typically very aggressive in different ways, but piling on big damage, making every move threatening, is definitely his play style, if I had to guess. On the opposite side, Elijah, his play style is about as defensive as you can get. A big Eraserhead fan, big fan of blocking, big fan of retro because of the powerful control pieces. So I got a little bit of a story to tell you while we're getting activated here with this Blood-Sucking Universe, and
I'm ready.
A lot of the motions that we're going through. There's Protector of Life. So Elijah just played a match where he froze every foundation that was played by his rival for the entire game.
Wow.
His rival claimed, he walked up to me afterwards and said, I did not ready a single foundation at the start of my turn the entire match, all 3 games. However, Elijah lost 2-1 because his opponent kept looking at the top card of their deck and being able to know that they would pass the check anyways, and was able to play Harness Undeath for millions and millions of damage in Zeke Jaeger Beast Titan. So while Elijah deck is incredibly powerful defensively, there are some gaps in that defense, and just committing your rival out, just preventing them from having resources, not quite enough in this metagame. So it'll be very interesting to see, up against another 5-hander, can Gavin, going first, overcome the amount of freeze and commit that the Mitchell Chimino deck can produce.
I'm excited to see that, and it is fun for me. You were talking about, because we've seen Elijah play a bunch of variation of decks across the board, but now seeing him pilot the Mitchell Chimino deck, because I mean it being our most recent winner of these regionals, with Justin Martin, of course, back in Las Vegas. So interested to see his take on the deck, see if he's made any changes, see if we're just kind of running back, maybe some adaptations, of course, because of ban and erratas, as we do know that Team Hero 15 can be played in Mitchell. So it's going to be interesting, like you said. said. Pretty aggressive start, though, as we kick things off. You talk about freezing these foundations. This is exactly the way you do it. Heaven
piercing ice wall.
Yes,
I'll never forget this one. This is one of my favorites. Freeze 2 cards? You don't say.
Or more if we can increase the stun, right?
And potential to draw. That's true. That's true. Well, you have to increase the stun to even get to that point. It freezes all the ones committed.
Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, usually you get a freeze 2. Sometimes you can get a bit more out of it. Sometimes you get to draw a card, which is pretty sick, which we're gonna see right now. We're gonna see the ready arrival foundation to draw a card. Then we're immediately gonna stun it out. Now we have 3 out of 5 frozen foundations. So like I said, Zach Richards, who we also got to see on stream earlier, take a very decisive victory, was telling me a wonderful story about how he did not ready a foundation during the ready phase for 3 whole games, but because of the Jaeger's follower, he was able to play the Harness on Death and still pull out the victory. So
even here, right here, blocking with the Mikasa's Fatal Cleave that we attacked, one of the ones we attacked with last turn, and checking a 6 on the block means no damage being dealt.
These 6 checks are going to get to Elijah before the end of the day.
I'm already even looking at this battle holds the answer, right? Meaning there's going to be some more 6 checks coming in here on the side for Gavin. So it's up to Elijah to be able to play this many times, but of course that attack not connecting means it doesn't go to momentum, which means Mitchell cannot keep bringing that card back. So one successful Heaven Piercing Ice Wall gone into the discard pile. Not a very aggressive hand on the side for Gavin.
Yeah, not looking like any. Okay, there's one attack.
Superfly Stomp.
Superfly Stomp is a pretty good one. It's only going to get better in Tekken, as it turns out.
True. Cards that do things in the discard pile.
Yep. Things that set up your discard pile are going to be very, very important coming up. Just like cards that scrub the discard pile are going to be pretty important. And it looks like we're going to come in with the -2 speed. No. Oh, we're starting with the Blitz. This is a very unknown Blitz, very rarely used. You can discard a momentum. You make your rival spend a momentum. And I believe they have to destroy a face-up foundation. It doesn't have to be ready, but it does have to be face-up. And it looks like Elijah did not choose to respond with Mitchell.
Yeah, I was going to say, even with the spin from your rival doing it, you still are allowed to put it in the Mitchell zone. So
yeah, potentially, just putting it out there, Elijah might be a little tilted from that last round because that is a bad beat. That is part of the story I want to try to spin for people, is that Elijah was dominating a 5-hander resource-wise, and it still didn't quite work out for him due to some really extraneous circumstances. And King Ghidorah, a 3-headed monster, I think this matchup's going to look very similar. Not to say that Elijah's going to lose to it, but just that you're going to see King Ghidorah do a lot with very few resources.
Well, I even think Gavin is like kind of already playing into that boat right now by going and even passing into his opponent's back turn or going back into Elijah with no resources ready. At least that was my thought when he passed back to Elijah after that first turn. There was only that one foundation ready to go, and having to navigate through extra, of course, the card itself, ready's another one. Of course, those are things that you can do, but still getting the blocks off, denying the Heaven Piercing Ice Walls, going back into momentum, that is a way that you eventually stop that game plan.
Absolutely. So part of the tournament scene is not just being good at playing the game. It's good at playing the game for hours and hours and hours and hours.
What hour are we on?
And hours. I think we're on hour 7.
We started at 10.
Started before.
Is that clock right? Hold on. Okay,
no, that's 7, right?
So 3. No, we're at hour 9.
Hour 9? Oh, it is 7 now. Oh, your clock is right for once. I was looking at your clock and I reduced.
Sorry,
you said don't look at the clock because it's wrong.
I did say that.
And now it's right.
Block with a Walk the Dog on the side for Elijah. I almost thought we were playing it, but that is not what's happening here. Building some more foundations, so there at least will be some ready resources for Elijah to interact with if we see some more Heaven Piercing Ice Walls, but we have, of course, to get them.
Yeah, and one thing that I think is pretty tough is typically the Mitchell Chimino decks, especially the order ones, they love to use those big keyword attacks, right? You use the blasting offs, you use the walk the dogs, you use the monster versus machines and things like that to be able to pump the powerful numbers with these easily gained momentum. But the King Ghidorah counters are going to mean that you can't just spend all your momentum to one-shot the opponent. And yeah, here comes the build out from Elijah.
Another Heaven Piercing hit, a third Heaven Piercing hitting the discard pile.
Uh-oh. That is a lot of the freeze potential going away, and it looks like Gavin is actually going to get to ready up a massive stage here. So very much different, very unlike.
Goodness.
the last matchup he had.
And there's a lot of attack cards in this hand, which makes sense because we didn't have very many on the last turn. So what goes around must come back around. I see an Earthbreaker, Superfly Stomp, another Bloodsucking Universe, and then World's Weakest Hunter, at least in the minimum.
Yeah, Earthbreaker very popular in this character. Once you get an Earthbreaker or 2 out, it's very easy to start picking speed instead of damage, because you'll still get a little bit of damage every time you use the Ghidorah enhance as well. So very popular attack, very popular leadoff.
Fighting for control coming in as the response, going to make Gavin commit 2 more. So that's good for Elijah, at least in the sense of getting more of those resources. And then now that the check has been passed, the Forceful Negotiator coming through, making another Foundation get committed, and now also the stun has been reduced by 1.
Yeah, that's actually something that doesn't come up too much when I play Mitchell Chimino, but reducing the stun value. Granted, I'm not confident this one's going to deal damage anyways, so I don't think I'd be too worried about it, but there is potential for it to land and destroy a Foundation.
Yeah, it could even be that Forceful Negotiator, because it was on play.
On play is not
never
during
mind.
the attack.
Sorry,
Nope.
you're right. Nope. So never mind.
One thing people forget though is if you commit to block, that is during the attack. So people partial block and they end up committing a Foundation that they don't think can be destroyed, but yet it can.
Also benefits from the draw, of course. Every time you draw, that card pull effect, being able to give extra damage. And there it is. We are giving speed already because we feel pretty comfortable. There it is. Going to remove that one. Draws a card. On the draw, give another damage.
Sunset 2 players.
Yep, did pick the speed. 5 low for 7.
Very respectable numbers, very typical stats. Elijah looks like he's trying to figure out if he even needs to block this.
Extra
Trying to do that math.
Even more speed.
More. I need more speed, Barrett.
This
must become unblockable.
That's what I think of the Adam Driver from the Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
More!
Yeah.
Yeah. There it is. Even more speed. 10, low, 7.
More.
Really wanting this one to connect. Gonna
You know
stack
what my
a 6.
favorite tidbit, by the way, about that is? About
What?
Adam Driver in Star Wars?
What's that?
When he screams, he sounds like a TIE fighter. He has like a yell, and they synced it up with a TIE fighter. It's very
Wow.
funny. I don't know if that was on purpose or if
I
they
don't-
like edited it to do that, but he sounds like it. I think it's his own TIE fighter too. So
Oh.
very funny stuff. Anyways, this is 7 damage going to come down. We are going to destroy the Forceful Negotiator that I don't think he's actually allowed to destroy.
I was going to say, I don't know.
I don't
Based
know
on
if
what
that
you
one's-
just told me.
I mean, if it was committed specifically due to the Mitchell Chimino response,
which is the only way
then-
you get the extra
then
kick.
he's not allowed to do that. So we'll see if the judge catches it or not.
Moving on to a Bloodsucking Universe here with the tension. We'll see if this does resolve. Gonna get that Roman Cancel token here. This one's a throw, of course, so we already did connect with that Earthbreaker, and so we'll be able to connect with this one as well.
Oh, it looks like we're taking a look at the Earthbreaker. Gonna double check to make sure if it was during the attack or not. Okay, it looks like they are swapping it around. Because it's whatever Foundation was stunned can be destroyed.
Yeah, because it's during. Yeah,
Yeah.
enhanced step. Yada, yada,
But
yada.
response on play is not during the attack, so.
Yeah.
It looks like they're going to let it go because it was an accepted board state. But yeah, I'm not sure if... oh, they're reading it now. He's pointing at it now.
I see a third hand.
Yeah, we got the judge. The judge.
I
is
see a
looking
third
at
hand. All right, okay.
Okay, yeah. So
It
we
has
got
been
it. We got it sorted.
repaired.
It's such a simple quick fix, right? Like,
Yeah, well, it doesn't
he
affect
got- yeah,
the
he-
current board state, right?
he
There's
got the
nothing on-
damage he wanted. It's not like he chose to not pump the damage or something over what he could destroy.
Yeah, and
Maybe we went a little heavy on the speed because we thought we'd get a forceful negotiator, but that is not how the card works, unfortunately. So
6 damage currently on this one, and I would assume when we press the King Ghidorah button, we're going to want to give it even more damage.
yeah, this one is tough. It's a 9 damage throw, but there's only one momentum. We can't do the Roman cancel clear, which is usually when I find Bloodsucking Universe really shines, is when it replaces itself via the Roman cancel draw, and it clears that card pool, and you still took damage. It did all of those things, and it heals the rival sometimes. So
yeah, Battle holds the answer also coming through here, but there is going to be a block with this monster versus machines. Breaker 2 will be able to go through here unless we choose to use this Dark Ward response.
yep, there is the Dark Ward there. And you were talking about you're excited to see what the all symbol attack lineup is, and this is very similar, you know, as far as the Earthbreakers and things go. But pointing out that the Bloodsucking Universe does heal more,
Yeah, 'cause we
if you
counters.
have the Ghidorah counters, which is very, very cool technology.
But we're at full.
We're at full right now, but as far as reasons to play the all symbol, Bloodsucking is definitely one of them.
Looks like we're not blocking with it? Or we did block with it?
We used
The Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, but we did not flip the Dark Ward. So I believe the Mechagodzilla versus Godzilla has to be played before the breaker window. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's after you play the card as a block
Instead of block.
instead of when you block. I'd have to pull it up in front of me here.
Yeah, which
But
means
we
that
are going to
this-
get a Fatal Cleave coming in.
Yeah. Well, regardless, the breaker looks like it is coming through, and then, yeah, and it does check.
Oh, it did breaker? Okay.
Yeah, so the breaker did go there.
Okay, so he did get to breaker. He did get the full combo, as it were.
King Ghidorah coming through with the
Oh, yeah, it
item
is
menu.
after you block, yeah.
Oh,
so he
perfect.
did just get to breaker, and we just saved the Dark Ward for a later date.
Yeah, and then we item menued here on the Ghidorah. So this Mikasa's Fatal Cleave, of which I will pull up. Gonna give it a little bit more speed. Looks like the speed's getting neutralized a little bit more. Do we have a low block? Elijah definitely using his health total as a real resource in this game. Because if we were to have a block at this point, that Divine Defender would be useful. But we have already kind of, bought back our cards once already.
Yeah, I think really what we'd want to see is that Protector of Life for that recycling the Omni block. But we do have a low. So the Walk the Dog's going to hit the card pool, and we will not get hit by the Fatal Cleave.
Checked a 4 on that Imprisoned. Going to build a couple more foundations. Checks a 6 on the first one, but now this one is on a 6, and we're going to completely tap out, including King Ghidorah here, saying, yeah, I don't actually think your attack package does enough at this point.
Yeah.
And especially with this other Walk the Dog now hitting the discard pile, maybe saying that, yeah, I just don't think you've got more of them. Going to review that Monster versus Machine. Goes to the momentum, of course, because of Mitchell. We're going to draw a fresh 6.
Yep. Now we do have the Roman cancel. So
Yeah.
we do effectively have one instance of
Ghidorah.
the
Yeah.
Ghidorah response, but I'll be very interested to see if Elijah can put something together. His deck does not look very aggressive, but I think we got a little bit of movement here. We got the 4th Heaven Piercing Ice Wall, so he's at least going to get some value out of this turn, get to put down a little bit of punishment, hopefully. I guess there's no guarantee this deals damage. It is a printed 3 mid for 4, so Ghidorah can just raw block this with a 5 off the top.
Freezing at least 2 cards. This will be the only one that we see, though, like you said, unless there's some crazy shenanigans I can't think of for us to reuse it again this turn. So at maximum, Gavin Kale is only ever really going to be frozen 2 foundations until the end of time, right? If this one
Right.
even connects, because I'm not saying, this guy plays a lot of 6-check, but there it is. It's going to go ahead and touch. Going to the momentum, which means now, as long as we can spend momentum during Gavin's turn, we can have them ready to go for the future Elijah ones.
I'm about to start in just a second, but when you guys are done playing, please come up and see me. Okay?
Looks like we're spending the momentum on one of the better Mitchell Cimino foundations. You form commit, freeze 2 rival foundations, and I get a breaker block back. Say it ain't so.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Imprison also coming in here, which means when we pass this turn back, a second Imprison on a 6.
It's worth it. It's worth it. Don't even think about it. Just don't even think about it. It's so worth it. This is your game plan. you got to get the Imprisoned online. There you go.
This is exactly what you were talking about. So with the double Imprisoned and all of these foundations frozen, when Gavin goes to ready his 3 foundations, 2 of them will actually get committed. And now with this extra Forcible Negotiator, this first attack on play will commit the last one. And that's assuming that you pass the check.
Absolutely incredible. Going for the Batcher here. I guess we're failing that one on purpose. That looked like a purposeful failure. Yeah, just a face down and the only face up.
Yeah, so those 2 face downs already left, but they can get committed with the Forceful Negotiator. And of course, we still have to check past these checks.
Yeah, if we had another cost that we could pay too, we could actually, on the first attack, commit both. But unfortunately, there aren't many of those. I think the Forceful Negotiator really is only there for the Mitchell Chimino response. I don't think there's any other commit 1 foundation costs in the deck. But I would love to be wrong because it would be sick to see something that like synergizes with Forceful Negotiator.
Also keeping that Mega Godzilla versus Godzilla.
Yep. Gavin knows he's got the Breaker 2. He's on only 2 resources.
On a 4.
We're going to force the Breaker 2 here out.
Jakes a 3.
Yep. And, oh, you got a nice EX attack. What if we made it EX2 instead of EX3?
And tap your last card. But
granted, plus 4 speed from EX and 2 from Ghidorah might actually be enough to get this to land, and then we'll draw at least 3 cards.
But that would be basically, in my opinion, probably the end of this turn, at least from building.
Another beautiful reason to play the All Symbol. Get Supersonic Flight
and item menu.
That's You get item menu. You basically get a 3-diff item menu.
And still has use in your stage, right?
That's true. It actually does something in the stage, which is fine. I'm a big Supersonic Flight fan.
It is a good one. I do like that one.
I feel like I'm one of the only people that like tries to enhance with it, though. I feel like almost every Rodan player I see.
The Rodan players will do it.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I popped like multiple copies of Supersonic on the same attack. Every time I play against a Rodan, they're like discarding it to incubate it away.
I think that's the easiest thing to do, sure, but that is in Rodan, that is a foundation that is a 3-diff that says destroy, make it a high, +6/+3, draw a card.
Right.
What?
Yeah, I love enhancing with it. But here we go. The EX getting cashed out here. +4 speed from EX, +2 from Ghidorah. That's going to put this back up to 9, and then we're going to deal damage and draw 3 cards. But I have to imagine we're just going to build here. Yep. Just get a nice solid build. Probably get 4 foundations added to the stage at the end of this turn.
So, aside from that foundation, the spend a moment, or sorry, freeze 2 things or whatever, because we don't have ways of spending the momentum during Gavin's turn, what now? Like you can't get this 7 Piercing Ice Wall back from our momentum. We don't have it in Elijah's hand. We have, obviously, the Monsterverse machine, which, now that we are at 10 foundations, we can selectively commit and freeze 1 of them, and the imprisons will still happen when we go back to Gavin's turn. But, like, how are we stopping Gavin from having 10 foundations ready on the next one? They're not going to be frozen.
I'd have to assume that that there are defensive ways to spend momentum in the deck. We just haven't seen them yet. It would be a little weird if there's not outlets for it, but really what we need to see is we do need to see more freezing technology, more abilities that freeze already committed cards, because if he could get 4 copies of I can't remember the name of it, but the one that's spend a momentum freeze 2, if you get 4 copies of those out at Mitchell Chimino and actually afford the 4 momentum, that's freeze 8. Your opponent has to go to deadlock now.
Yeah, and remember, all 3 of these Ghidorah heads have not been touched on the side for Gavin. So even if you did commit the entire board, which is what we're slowly doing right now, this Walk the Dog, which we know that there are 2 more in the discard pile, this one's only doing 3. You don't even feel like you want to spend the momentum, which then makes it feel worse because Gavin can play the mind trick of not using a head at all.
Right, and that blood-sucking universe, as long as you've got the requisite counters, you get more health gain. So
the 4 instead of 2.
It does kind of behoove you to wait until you need to use them.
But you need to threaten an attack big enough to warrant the use from Gavin. And I mean, I'll be very frank with it. That's not what the Mitchell Chimino deck is typically doing.
Especially when we're not spending momentum. I feel like we could have spent a momentum or 2 here just to get some of those attacks back that like we were talking about. But
Yeah.
that was not the plan for Elijah here. So we'll see where it goes from here. But I think this is going to be a pretty boring turn compared, considering our rival is committed out except for their character and should be fairly vulnerable. But I imagine we're mostly going to see a build out after this.
Yeah, didn't use a head, so still at 23 for Gavin, and he's at 11, and we know that throws exist inside of this deck. How much throw hate on the order symbol? Someone asked me this today, and I got stun locked.
On the order symbol, none.
Yeah.
On the good symbol, some really good ones.
Yeah.
Good attuned has Protector of Life.
Yes.
That's all you need. Order probably has like a throw that blocks a throw.
Oh, sure.
They
yeah.
probably have one of those. If I had to guess, I think Earth has one or Water has one, and I think Order would probably also have one.
Dr. Ichigaki fighting for control, which is good for helping commit some more of these foundations as we go to play the first move. Getting that imprisoned, going to tap the last one of there for the extra stats, and then the draw as well. There's the review, drawing up more cards here for Gavin. This seems to be the moment for Gavin to try and break through this. 6 readied foundations on the side of Elijah, Dr. Ichigaki, and Mitchell himself. We know that there's bound to be a breaker block of some sort in hand. The Monster vs. Machine from oh so long ago that we haven't played again. Cycle coming through. 1, 2, 3. 4 attacks.
Gotta take a quick peek at that public knowledge.
If any of those were King Ghidorah Unleashed, we could play them.
Is King Ghidorah Unleashed not for a cost? It's just any remove.
I don't know.
Bonkers.
I don't know. Maybe
It doesn't. Is that even on symbol?
it's his card, right? After
Oh,
this card
it's
is
the
removed,
other card,
It is
yeah.
to pay a cost. Never mind.
Yeah, there is a different card though that is like time shifted, different Ghidorah symbols.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so
Here it is. Bloodsucking Universe.
blood sucky.
And then this one, at least as long as it resolves or deals damage, is going to gain us 4 more life back, going back up to 27. And I would imagine we are going to dump some damage into this.
Right.
Ghidorah, we have a power token. Plenty of things for us to be doing here. Supersonic Flight.
Including draw more cards with Supersonic Flight.
And with the cycle, when your Supersonic Flight draws you another Supersonic Flight for the next one.
Right. The back-to-back.
We did pick speed, it looks like. Oh, I love this. I should know this one. I don't know why I can't think of it. I don't know why. Anyway, it's sacrifice 1 foundation. If it deals damage, your opponent loses 1 life.
I thought this was the flip one.
No.
I thought the 1 diff was sacrifice and the 2 diff was flip one.
I don't know why I feel like I knew the name of this card, and I guess I just don't. Oh, well. Anyway, it's very good. It's Death Attuned. It's
So
got a low
coming
block.
to terms.
Coming to terms. Yeah, Sacrifice Foundation. If it deals, your opponent
Oh, it
loses
is
1.
sacrifice. Okay. This is the 1 diff. Oh, that's what mixed me. It looked like a 2 diff on the screen.
Oh, gotcha.
It did.
Mikasa's Fatal Cleave. We're in deadlock? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We're in deadlock.
Super deadlock. But isn't Mikasa's Fatal Cleave the cycle lock one? Or once your rival to have
yes.
cycled?
Yes, sorry. Yes, it is. It
Yeah,
is.
not true deadlock.
Another low attack. Challenging some block zones here. Used, I assume, the other Supersonic Flight. I see we did have an answer to remove the Bloodsucking Universe. I did miss what it was. But Elijah got away from it without taking any damage. No low block, but there's that Protector Life.
Yep, good old Protector, bounce it back to my hand combo.
We don't have it, though.
Oh,
Was it Dimensional Sphere? No, it's not an order. What am I thinking? How did we remove the Bloodsucking Universe without it resolving?
did he Roman cancel it? There's no Roman cancel in his momentum. I'm pretty sure he Roman cancel cleared it.
And it got blocked. And this is the
He got
second
blocked by a Protector of Life,
This is not
and he
second
bounced it back. Yeah,
I understand. That is where I
Okay.
missed the whole exchange.
I got you.
That's why we can't protect. That's why we can't bounce this one because we have already done it.
I didn't know where you were lost.
Yes,
I was following
was
along. Yeah.
I was figuring out how the Bloodsucking Universe disappeared.
Yeah, it got Roman canceled away, and then the Protector of Life disappeared because it got added back to hand.
World's Weakest Hunter coming in now, and with the last foundation being committed on Gavin's side. This one is slower because of the Mitchell response, and no momentum this time. So as long as a mid block is in hand, we can block with this, or can deal with this. And then also remember that Heaven Piercing Ice Wall is back in Elijah's hand.
Right.
This is going to be a long one.
It's looking that way. We're halfway through the round, still in game one. I do think it's going to end quickly when it does. Like, it's going to be a very decisive, like, let me show you my hand. Because right now we're still in the process where we're getting rid of everyone's resources.
Yes.
You know, we're going through everyone's remove abilities. We're finally, like, the Protector of Life is not coming back to the hand, right? Things are getting removed via cycle, exactly. And I know Elijah was wanting to check a 5 there, even though he probably could have gone through his deck and figured out what the last card in his deck was if he was really thinking about it. But I know he wanted to check a 5 there because we still have Fighting for Control, and we still had Inspiring Song down there. So he had some really nice ways to check hack the rival if they tried to do some wacky stuff where they commit Ghidorah or try to raw check a 6, which... You know, I was talking to Elijah and Zach, actually, both after the last round and getting, like, both of their sides of the story. And one of the things Elijah said to me that has resonated with me personally since about, 2021 with the reboot is you have to play around the only ways you lose. It's so difficult to play for next turn in the current era of UniVersus. Trying to, save things up for next turn is something that is a luxury. You have to be playing to your outs and thinking, what can kill me? Because your rival with 0 ready resources might still kill you in this format.
Was that his words?
No, those are my words.
Oh, okay.
But he did say, well, it's the only thing I would lose to, and I didn't think about it,
Yeah.
And I try to tell people a lot through, Patreon coaching and stuff like that. Like, you really can't just assume you'll live, and like, it's a great thing to try and set up your next turn. But every time I personally try to do that, I end up losing. Yeah. Every time I think to myself, when I lost to George Rangel playing Hanji versus his Porco, I win. I live, at least I should say I live, not win, but I live if I military airship a Filled Without to potentially seal any other attack. But there was only one attack I was worried about sealing, and I already saw 3 of them. And it's turn 2. And I thought, well, on turn 2, if he has the 4th, I guess I deserve to lose. And guess what? I deserve to lose because I did not add the Filled Without back to my hand. Because if I go to my next turn and I didn't use the airship. If I go to my next turn and I have the airship, I feel like I win on the spot with double Titan Pile.
Yeah.
So because I played to win instead of not to lose, I ended up losing.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're in an era of UniVersus where you really have to play not to lose first and then figure out how to win, which is why we see so many decks do so well that are like the Mitchell Chiminos of the world, where their first game plan is preventing you from having one.
Yeah, I mean, we literally just got to watch the George Zhang Keyleth deck, and that deck is all about just living.
Right.
And then eventually, I also get to play things like Colossal Thermal Blast, and you've used all your flip effects, and it says Ruin 13 on it. Oh, and I play Thunderous Roar, and it has 1 billion speed on it, and so the deck can still play the game.
So you just found a way to play 8-hand size Mothra with Keyleth, is what you're telling me?
Well, Stable Work makes you an 8-hander, so.
Yeah. But I just remember I played, I won my LC a couple weeks ago playing 8-hand size Mothra with Thermal Blast.
Yeah.
And I was very much inspired by George playing that.
Back in Atlanta
a
long time ago.
He played that deck also, I think, in a webcam event. I might be wrong.
No,
but
that sounds right.
yeah, he played in a webcam event, and I was like, wow, that's super sick, bro. Someone actually did that, you know? Because it was kind of obvious, you know, when you see, like, what's the highest difficulty attack a Mothra can play.
We have officially, I think, also hit the point, at least, sorry, going back to this game,
Yeah.
because of the cycle, we now have access to 2 heaven-piercing ice walls.
Oh.
With the
Look
foundation.
at the stack of frozen cards.
Well, but yeah, so now it matters, right? And now here comes the extra foundation to help even freeze more with the momentum.
Yep.
Now we are at the point where how does Gavin win the game with not reading any cards? Like
0
Elijah.
ready cards. How do you harness Undeath Scam in King Ghidorah, basically? How do you sneak one by him? Because I think Elijah is finally sort of hitting that point where he's got the actual resources. It looks like we could have froze the last 2 foundations, and he chose not to, though. So again, just tiny little errors. I feel like the correct thing to do is for sure to freeze everything, right? Or maybe that's the one we just built. Maybe he moved him. Okay, I think that's the one we just built.
yeah,
wrong.
he did.
I'm
He
wrong.
did
I'm
just
wrong.
build that. Yeah, yeah.
I was looking down, and I was like, well, it's not the one in the card pool, so it's the one in the stage. But
So here's the hard part.
He used the other one. He used the
Blood
other
Sucking
one.
Universe. And it looks like we're accepting the check. Fighting Controls did not get used.
Mhm.
So instead, we're just going to commit here, which tells me that Elijah has another Protector of Life.
Right.
Is kind
Why
of where I'm
risk
at.
it, right?
Supersonic Flight,
Supersonic.
drawing. Assume we pick damage.
And Gavin might just try to like cycle himself out of cards before letting Elijah kill him. He might just draw every card in his deck and say, well, I'd rather die trying than let you kill me.
Gave the damage this time. Remember, we'll still gain us some more life. There's the Protector of Life, and we will be able to get it back. Deals no damage.
Oh, we're scooping him up now.
And there it is. I think that's Gavin accepting, well, if you have another Protector of Life, I can't deal with it. Because eventually, that last 2 cycle, we did get rid of it because we made him block with it twice. And now with having another one in Elijah's hand, game 1 going to him due to the inevitability.
And it's one of those things where part of the Mitchell Chimino deck is it's showing you what it's going to kill you with next turn.
Yes.
Right? You spend the Walk the Dog and you say, I'm going to respond, add it to my hand next turn. So Gavin knows that there is gas in the tank. And I got to say, I never really thought, if you'd asked me, even when the Mitchell Chimino deck was like first, or like the character was first previewed or something, you know?
Yeah.
Or when AOT first dropped and everything. I don't remember the exact order of events. But if you told me that there was a deck where the strategy was to freeze everything, I would say, what a fun locals deck. Good luck with that. It'll be cool when you do it the one time.
Well, I think that was the mentality when all the freeze cards came out because it was AOT first, and
Yeah.
then Mitchell has now come out.
Right.
With when it was Exandria,
He
was
became
that time
legal,
frame.
yeah.
Yeah. So.
So yeah, I think it's one of those things where we're like a year and a half later from that, and all of a sudden it's like, well, wait a minute, there actually is enough here. I think mostly due to stuff like Imprisoned, really, but we finally come full circle where the format is just palpable enough where you can still kill someone with no ready foundations because they froze them all, but you can actually freeze all 10 of them. So I'm pretty excited. I love it when there's playstyles like that lean into like one axis really hard like that. And they're not, a strict win condition. Like, it's not like you cannot play the game, but it is good enough to win the game sometimes. So
I like this with like discard decks.
yeah.
We're not there yet though.
And we never should be. That's
Well,
the one
those
thing.
are pretty NPE. yeah.
Sacred cow. Sacred
Cow.
No,
Nah.
I'm two-faced in the sense that like I hate discard decks, but if there ever is a good one, I'm playing it because I don't want to be the guy playing against it, Like I'm amazed that every regional is not won by Tri-Gravity Beam, truly. Like, look at your hand rip out the block, How is that not the win con of every good deck? But
Even Fire, as we just got shown from George Zhang in the last round, Titanic Capture.
yes, that when that card was shown off, I thought, we're getting close.
We're getting close.
The 8 difficulty does protect us from that quite often.
Hold on.
But
I'm gonna hold my tongue before I say any more words. Sorry, chat.
I'm watching him. It's impressive. He's holding it very well. It looks heavy, but he's really toughing through it. Ooh, I can see the sweat forming on his brow, but he's lifting. The tongue is being held immaculately.
Sorry, okay. I was just checking cards that were in Tekken. And one of my favorite ones actually is the Divine Dominance of Annihilation because of that blitz ability. Of course, you have to have the heat token to play it, but it's not discard. It's like a different version, which is like you actually are debuilding your rival, and then they can't play that card anymore. Think of the 2-check from Attack on Titan that people are trying to play multiple times and abuse with Aaron's face on it.
Farewell Between Friends.
Thank you. Yeah, and you look at their hand and you tell them, hey, no, you can't play that one.
Yeah.
That kind of similar style-ish.
That's not terrible. You do have to sack a heat token to play this one, though, so you probably can't abuse it.
It's a heat smash.
Yeah.
I believe is what they're called.
Yes, yeah.
Anyway, here we are into game 2. Gavin Kale.
Or I think the heat smash is the activate. I think the actual move is called the heat drive.
Oh,
but I could be getting confused with 7 because 7 had rage drives, which are basically what the new heat move is.
Oh, okay.
They like glow. They both glow blue. They both, are their own attack, like outside of stuff. But yeah,
like this blue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the whole character turns blue at the beginning, and then they go through it. Yeah.
I realize I said that, and Chad has no idea what I'm looking at.
No, not at all.
Okay, sorry. Anyway,
all we know is that Reina is the best character.
I
the best
love
new character
Reina. Let's go. Anyway, Gavin Kale built for 2 turns. This seems to be the play, and with respect, so does Elijah. But of course, you get to review every single time because we went second this game. So we have 2 extra tools later.
2 Mouska tools.
I did already use that word earlier today, so I didn't want to use it again.
The secret Mouska tool for later.
This is your chance.
If you ever get tired of saying Mouska tool, you can also say mice device.
I hated that.
Yeah, you don't like mice device?
I didn't like that one. I see double blood sucking and Earthbreaker, which is our lead-in.
Earthbreaker, the classic King Ghidorah opener.
It's a good one. We draw a bunch of cards. We like stun and stuff. And you can give it speed. It does have less stun, of course. And all of these options to stun, you probably don't want to get destroyed.
Currently a 1 low for 6. Not too threatening at all, but Elijah has had a little bit of issues with finding the right block zones, kind of leaning heavily on Protector of Life being recurred and things like that. So this could sneak in there.
Looks like we did give a minus to check. Do we have a second inspiring song? I guess I missed. Seems to be that use. Gonna get that removed with the Ghidorah. Gonna draw a new one. Gives us an extra bonus damage, and it looks like we're gonna choose the speed. 3 low, 8. Questioning. Do you have a low block? Elijah did only hold on to 2 cards. It looks like. In before Protector of Life.
Yeah.
But it would be getting rid of it pretty early on.
Right, because if we don't play 3 attacks, Divine Defender can't pick it up.
Correct.
So it would be stranded.
Battle holds the answers. Remember, it's not cost. So you just push the button, and then he says, it does seal it, of course, because of Batra, but,
Yeah, it's E:, but.
Yes.
But Batra does seal it, which is a big reason why Batra gets played more than Macho.
True.
One of the worst mistakes I ever made was Worlds 2020. I was so tilted after losing in teams. I went to play singles, and someone activated basically the same idea. It's hiding in plain sight. It's just E:, add this to momentum, and I revoked it. And then they're like, all right, next enhanced step, add it to momentum. And I was like, all right, well, I am Bobo the Clown. So.
And then here is that blood-sucking universe. And we did pass it fully tapping out. So now this Forceful Negotiator actually just looks like it doesn't do anything. But I guess, save yourself a ready resource. Roman cancel token coming through without having that Protector. This one is more than likely going to connect unless there is a second protector in hand.
That would be pretty nuts. But who knows? Elijah might just be sick with it. He might be built like that.
Some speed. We want this one to land. No life to be gained once again because we're at full. Putting it on top. Going to help us pass another check after this. Deals, connects.
All
But if we
right.
want to play another attack, that means the Divine Defender will be live. Freezes are of our own.
Imprisoned?
Probably?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imprisoned looks like the call. Oh, okay, yeah. How do you like it? Give him a little taste of his own medicine.
4 out of 5. Out of 5. Checks. Building some more foundations. Feels pretty good after trying to play some attacks. Gonna take the momentum. We'll pass it back. One less in prison to deal with for this cycle, this turn. Elijah reviews. Goes to the Mitchell. Momentum. Draws up for turn. See her walk the dog. It is immediately a fortif. That is the benefit of this deck.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, committing the rival down on their own turn does make opening Walk the Dog much easier.
And it would also help us spin some momentum. So if we want any of these cards back, as once again, there's not a momentum out currently in Elijah's board. There it is. Walk the dog. Do we want to make it even more powerful? We didn't use any momentum in the last game. Oh, that was the other note I was going to make. Have you ever seen a King Ghidorah three-headed monster play an entire game and not lose a single head?
Only when they win. Like you're talking about one where they lose?
Yeah. That's what happened.
No, I guess that is a first. I don't think I've ever seen one. I might have seen one cycle out, but I'm sure they lost a head during it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously,
No.
it's a choice. Like, you don't have to do it. And Gavin's health was still healthy enough. So, like, in the same situation, we just took this, it's going down to
Yeah.
23. There it is. There's some momentum spending. Coming into the stage. Not for now, but like you said, the Mitchell deck's very good at showing you your death later.
Previewing, this is what I'm going to kill you with.
And we just spent 40 minutes, showing that death. This is Gavin's game to win. My question is, do you know the record of these two players based off of that result for Elijah?
That's a good question. I believe it's X1. I know he said he had to win 2 more.
Okay.
So it might be X2. When I was first talking to Elijah, he was talking to Andrew Porat, who they were believing that they were going to pair into each other. So if you know Porat's record, then they're the same, which I believe. Yeah, okay. So I think they're X2 because they were both talking about how they needed to win 2 more. They needed to win the last 2 rounds. So I don't think it can be X1. And Elijah was even lamenting, like, if he had won the last round, he could just ID twice. So
Then that.
which we're doing top 16, right?
No, top 8.
Because IDing twice doesn't sound like a great way to get top 8, actually.
No, it is not.
That feels like a great way to get 9th place.
I think it kind of depends. There were 108 people in the room, so I think a double ID could actually probably just
How do we get 8 rounds with 108 people?
All the buys.
Oh, we had to add a round to make that. Okay.
Yeah.
Darn buy-havers.
Or it would have been rough.
Yeah. Speaking of rough, we got Superfly Stomp coming in. Gonna search our deck. Gonna dump the loss of consciousness into the discard pile. Immediately respond with it.
That's good. For something later.
That is a greasy combo.
It is good. Yeah.
I hated that combo when Superfly Stomp first came out. I thought that's what people were going to be using it for mostly. It turns out it was a Devil Jin attack actually, but
Yeah.
I really thought like bin loss of consciousness to seal something was going to be the move.
And then it turned into Hawks sending in selective foundations to
Yeah.
build in with Hero 15.
It just became equipment heist stuff, and I was like, all right, well, at least I'm not getting my foundation sealed. I'm just dying.
Just losing the
I'm just
game.
losing to 20 damage moves.
And it all led with this 4 low for 4.
Mm-hmm.
King Valyria bouncing one back up. Gonna give it speed back. 4 low for 4. Five low for 4. 6 low for 4.
Ticking up the speed.
I do always
That
forget
need
the
for destruction.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
He needs it.
And it does connect. 4 more damage. Slowly getting there. Earthbreaker on a 6. 5. 6.
Okay.
And what did we seal? We sealed the Batra. Okay. So now that Forceful Negotiator coming in, it actually has stun 1.
Mm-hmm.
And -2 speed. Seeing a little bit of life here in Gavin's side. You know, this is his game that he must win with our 10.5 minutes remaining for both of these players. There's the stun. That means if this does connect, we can blow up the Batra arrives. Inspiring Song. He was just doing some math, I think, for his opponent. So I think he was giving -1. But we'll find out. Yep, there it is.
Little fake breaker.
Yep.
Little faker, if you will.
Without having to block it. Give it stat. Ooh, this is big. Yeah, Gavin is sitting here asking himself if he thinks Elijah has that low block. Gives the speed. Gets the damage because of its own card pull effect. And then we still have 2 more speed to give. 5 low 7 is where we're going to end up.
Yep, easily handleable on the stats. It's really going to come down to the zones.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to the Protector of Lives. But
2 more.
Oh, okay. Now, all right. Okay, now stats are mattering a bit. We might check a 3.
7 low 7.
Trying really hard to hit this Mitchell Chimino deck.
I think we do have a low block.
What is the move here? 7 low for 7.
I think Elijah right now is I bet this is where I'm at. I'm in the tank. He's got a low block. But man, oh man, okay. So we're canceling the +2 speed with the Dr. Ichigaki because we want to play this low block. But we're afraid if we fully commit out, we will die to whatever comes next.
I approve of this message. This is a clear example of, you know, playing not to lose, of not taking the risk, right?
Checks the 6.
Check the 6 anyways.
Feels much better for Elijah there. Only having to commit the 2 now. Without that cancel, would have had to commit the 4.
Right.
6 check does help a lot, though. Mikasa's Fatal Cleave on a 6. We did have the -1 to this check. So we checked a 4, 5, 6. Commits 2 more.
Ask him if he's got another low block.
Yeah, 1 more low block, which means we can then destroy another one.
Oh, we've got Divine Defender, so yes, we do.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But is it too expensive?
Potentially.
1, 2,
it's a
4,
+3
5,
low,
6,
I'm pretty
7, 5. I mean, yeah, it's... You need a... I mean, don't check a 3. 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I guess you can tap out for it. Unless we get Dora for speed. That is where we're at.
Right, which I believe we will.
We'll find out. On a 7. 4. Wants to let it fail.
Woof.
5 damage. And then, of course, the response when it deals damage. Selective Destruction. What do we get rid of? We have options. one that freezes 2 cards, one that cancels our abilities, one that commits one of our cards, and another one that commits with cost paying. It looks like the Forceful Negotiator is the choice.
Interesting.
I think that is interesting as well.
I felt like Imprison does most of that same work at a harder time.
4, 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7. Fatal Cleave number dose.
I guess because Negotiator gets 2 cards on a turn cycle and Imprisoned
Yeah.
only gets 1.
Yeah. Slow again. His attacks are not doing a ton of damage, but they are getting the job done when it comes to picking apart the stage of Elijah.
Yeah, resource denial in any other name. You say, you're going to freeze all my stuff. I'm just going to destroy yours permanently.
Yeah.
But as I always like to mention, the time is ticking down. So depending on how Elijah's next turn looks, there could be a world where Gavin doesn't even get to play another turn. And trying to deal 15 with 4 cards in your card pool is very difficult.
There it is. Now we're going to pick the one that freezes 2 more. So now no more freeze on the board of Elijah. We would have to rely solely on things like the Heaven-Piercing Ice Wall on a 4. Maybe not. On a 5. Checks. Previous poo on a 5. 3. Tap 2 for it. Why not? Keeps them all. They were going to get committed or into a frozen anyway with things like a Heaven-Piercing Ice Wall. 23 health to go through for Elijah. Board a little in shambles. Reviews a King Illyria. 3 cards in hand, drawing 3 more. Walk the dog. Walk the dog. Something
He's
else.
got to do a lot to get through these head counters, though.
Yeah.
Unless we have maybe a Scanlan's hand out of the sideboard, that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, commit the character down. Yeah, that's the hardest part. Blood-sucking universe of our own. How many counters does Mitchell Chimino have?
Not enough.
Oh, okay.
You can ask him. He's right over there at the TTP booth.
Oh, you're right. No, he's gone.
Oh, womp womp.
It was
Should have
closing.
asked him sooner.
It was closing time. Bloodsucking Universe, though. Gonna pick up some stats because it's the first attack of the turn. Gonna get that 1/1 from each of those foundations. Get that Roman Cancel token, which might help Elijah stay alive if we but at the same time, I guess if Elijah eats up this clock, the game ends.
Right. That's true. Well, yeah, because he went second. Yeah, if it's during that turn, if he eats up the clock all on this turn, yes.
Gotta move a little quickly if Gavin
Which
wants a chance.
I don't think I've ever seen a UniVersus player like look for the time and then do that, you know?
No.
Like I've seen it in every other card game I've played where it's like you can tell someone else is doing it like 2 tables down, you know, because it's so obvious. But especially with the stream games, they're always just locked in. I've never seen anyone really like look around and be like, okay, how much time do I have?
Yeah, just because they know they're on a separate timer, so they're like, yeah.
I've done it a couple of times, but I usually just tell my opponent like, hey man, I got 4 attacks. They're not going to kill you, but I'm going to play my enhances as fast as I can, but I am wasting time. And then usually I'm like, and that's me telling them like, you should just pass, you know, like you should just not play the enhanced step. Right. But because I remember I did it with Christopher Bromley in a webcam event where I was like, hey man, like I'm up a game. There's only 7 minutes left. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to play this long Summon Dark Shadow turn. Like, it's not going to matter, but...
And it doesn't matter if I kill you or not.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to pass back. Gavin is going to get this turn. So, Gavin...
Then, by the way, it only took me 3 minutes to do it. He still had 4 minutes left to play his turn, so I couldn't even timer scam when I tried to.
3 minutes and 20 seconds for Gavin. You must kill Elijah now. Imprison did come through. We did commit that need for destruction. No extra speed coming for the side of Gavin except for that 1/1 difficulty foundation from the new decks.
Mm-hmm.
Nice little evil attuned. Gives some extra speed. Bloodsucking Universe.
Not a bad one to lead off with.
Gonna challenge if whether or not we have a Protector of Life. Give it some minus speed. Those Forceful Negotiators now being gone is really going to pay off this turn. Gavin's got all of his foundations to play with except for these 2. Here comes our Enhance. I would assume damage. You just have to kind of call your opponent if they have it or not.
Yeah, and again, like we were talking about, like the time's running out. It's one of those things where...
Nope, we pick speed.
Unless Gavin immediately builds and passes. No, even if he does, he went first. So it's basically this turn.
King of Illyria did bounce one of those Need for Destructions, but now there's a high block in Elijah's hand. But that block is not Protector of Life. The Team Hero 15 ended up building back that Armored Foundation for freezing extra stuff. I think it's very funny to do that because I don't think this game will last long enough for that to matter.
No. But Blood-Sucking Universe will deal damage, and that puts Mitchell down to 7.
On a 6. Checks a 5.
All right. Here comes -2 speed and -1 to the stun rating.
Yep. Once again, asking Elijah how many low blocks you have. Draws another attack. Currently, things are looking good for Gavin to try and take this game to a tie.
Yeah, I don't know how much a tie helps either of these players if they are both in the X2 bracket.
Yeah, we just don't know their records, yeah.
Yeah, at this point, Gavin could just be playing spoiler. But the integrity of results must be adhered to, and so we are going to play this one out. We are going to see if Gavin can deal 7 more damage. This is a great way to do so by having the rival commit all of their cards to block.
Looking at our momentum. Yep, because of the block effect off of the Roman cancel. Get to get that clear off and draw a card. Making the card pool a little bit neater. 6 ready foundations. Going to be still pretty good to keep playing attacks. What do we have next? Double Superfly Stomp.
That technically does represent 7.
It does technically do that. We, of course, still have King Ghidorah.
Have you seen how many non-low attacks have you seen? World's Weakest Hunter,
Blood-Sucking.
Blood-Sucking, that's a throw. I'm trying to think. This King Ghidorah deck reminds me a lot of the old school strategy of lows and throws.
Lows and throws.
You know, lows were just low blocks were the least common block zone, like printed on purpose.
Yeah.
Because that's, you know, attacking low is supposed to be good in a fighting game is the only reason I ever thought that was on purpose. And people, when I first started playing the game, they're like, yeah, your opponent will have less low blocks than other blocks. But now I don't think that's necessarily true. But seeing lows and throws come back is just kind of a awkward quirk, you know, kind of a funny little quirk.
I think we're looking right now to see if we even want to use this top or the bottom blitz ability of searching our deck, and it looks like we did, which means we just sent a good check away. And keep this in mind, if we want to keep using Ghidorah's ability to give stats, we're also going to get rid of those good checks, knowing that the cards left in our deck are going to help us pass them. There goes the Ghidorah ability. Going to pick a stat as we draw a new card. Picking the speed. It makes sense.
Yep. Trying to get in the zone.
5 low 5.
Because Gavin knows he can pass another attack.
Yeah.
If he can get Mitchell down to a partial block, then he can focus only on speed.
Correct.
So
5 low 6 because of the progressive block modifier. 7 8. 5 6 7 8.
Oh my goodness.
Fully taps out, which means without the ability of Mitchell, this one can still represent lethal because the Ghidorah will be able to give it +3 damage instead.
Yep. And that's going to make it a 1-1 tie, which, I got to be honest, partner, I think that just spoiled both of their tournament runs, unfortunately, for both of these players. But
placement still matters for extra prizing.
That's true, but I do think that is going to lock them into like top 32, if not top 16. So this one's going to end up a draw, but that might mean some better prizes than if they lost. And It was a really heated back and forth. There was a nice back and forth. You got to see the Mitchell Chimino deck really do its thing, freeze all those foundations, lock the game down for game 1. But King Ghidorah showed that even on a short board, if you can be aggressive early enough before that lock is in place, then you can give yourself the tools necessary to take down the stalwart defensive deck. So both decks are doing very cool stuff. We got to see Blood-Sucking Universe used in a way you're not used to.
Correct.
Typically, you got to see some all symbol combinations that we don't always get to see. And we got to see the realization of this entire freeze sub theme that has been trying to be a thing realistically since like MHA set 4.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know, I think it's like Todoroki wanting to always try and stun things down and keep them there.
Ice them out.
Yeah, exactly. I like the idea of it, and I do enjoy freezing. You know, Kai Kisuke wanting to try and do it, even also coming from Guilty Gear, the AOT cards we talk about. But Mitchell being a very good, different... And the thing about Mitchell is that always oriented as a sort of combo deck. It makes sense that when you can pick one of these sort of identities or mechanics to focus on, you can make it happen with that sort of combo potential that the character gives. But let's take a look as we are headed into our last round shortly. Let's take our top 16 table snapshot so we can see what our top tables looked like going into this round 7, knowing the result of this one. So we talked about Rodan. Rodan had to go against each other. Nathan DeWalt got paired into one of the other ones and is now playing against Justin Birch on that Zeke deck. Andrew Porat still up there playing that. And then we just watched Table 2. So the records actually must have been very good, actually. So I think this draw does not get them out of contention.
It's a weird... Well, there's also a weird pairing because I was with Elijah and Andrew Porat when they got paired. And again, they thought they'd pair into each other.
Yeah.
But they both had like a weird pairing. So they both felt like something was a little off because of the records.
Yeah.
So there might have been like a weird pair down somewhere.
Maybe both these players have 2 draws now.
Yeah, but we did try to get that Shin Godzilla on stream earlier, and they did not seem enthusiastic.
Sure.
But I believe if they have to play next round, I think that Shin Godzilla is what we're going to see.
Makes
sense.
sense.
On top of that, I want to point out Alexa down here.
Still playing great.
With the King Ghidorah, Emperor of the Cosmos. Was really stoked to see that one in like single-digit tables. Hopefully we can see that deck do well. Not sure if it beat the Anguirus or not, but Pony Mirror, keeping the ponies out. If you remember back in old school Orlando, there was the Ojiro 2 format menace where like no Ojiros topped because they all played each other in the last couple rounds. So
Jacob Johnson playing as Barlow Guest as well. That's got to be a devastating loss for either one of those 2 players.
I got to see... Have we seen Constantine on stream this weekend?
We have not, no.
We have not. I almost wanted to get Constantine on stream, but it's playing against the Rodan, and we had just watched the Rodan.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get that one on there until I saw his opponent, unfortunately. That's what I was just talking about. Like, a lot of these characters, a lot of these tables, I was walking around, I was just, man, we already saw Pony. Oh, we just watched Rodan. Oh, we already saw this. So we tried to get the most unique thing that we could that wasn't going to be, like, explicitly a Rodan mirror or something.
Titan of Terror, though. All the way back still here. Still rising up to the top on table 15.
Titan of Terror
Very
in
funny.
the top 16 tables.
Violante, table 7.
Yep.
And then I think the last thing I wanted to say was there's still a Peak Finger, of course, going against that deck. And then there's one Mothra Divine Defender still up here as well.
Which is amazing. Mothra Divine Moth.
Divine Moth, sorry.
Yeah, which is amazing because I really felt like that deck gets preyed upon by the Rodans. You know, I really feel like the matchup is pretty awful, at least for the Void version. The last thing we're going to talk about is we got some Armored All Mights. Where's that on stream?
Yeah, we haven't done it yet. At least not today. We did some yesterday, of course, and I did
They keep getting paired into King Ghidorah and Pony.
Yeah.
So I tried to get that one. That was the one I was looking for. But I think those players actually chose the ID, so which is crazy because they're down here at table 6.
I know
table
Ryan
2 played.
won his, actually.
Yeah, okay.
So
they played, yeah.
So he's also moving up, which I think allows Ryan to actually ID in this last round. He was X1, so that's an X1
there
table.
You go.
But yeah, that's going to be their top 16 snapshot. We have one more round to play. Let's talk about this prizing one more time for the players that they're going for. Of course, we got these Tekken cards. Although the set is not out, they are playing for this Impenetrable Defense, which is a secret rare, and it's impeccable new art to go with it. Of course, you get to put yourself on a backup if you could first place all the way as well. And we have our Top Cut mat and this Heihachi Champion mat as well. Deck boxes, sleeves for the Top Cut contenders. This is what is on the line for this last round, going into round 8, and I'm so excited to see what our Top Cuts are going to look like. But of course, if you're not here at the Dallas Regional, you can, of course, check out the Atlanta Regional, which I will also be at commentating with Constantine and Jesse Cervini. So regardless of how Constantine does this weekend, I get to have some laughs and share his emotion and passion for the game on stream in Atlanta, September 18th. So if you're not going to be there, I will miss you. But I hope you do show up. And with that, we have one more round to go. Sam, I get to say goodbye to you, and I will see you all tomorrow for Top Cuts. But you and Tito get an impeccable round 8 to decide who was going to be in that Top Cuts, and I cannot wait. Don't go anywhere, players. We'll be back very soon.
Welcome back, everyone. We've got our 8th and final round today at the Dallas Regional. I, of course, am Sam Tate, joined once again by Tito from the tabletop, and we will have a very, very exciting matchup for you. Everyone's favorite, everyone's most beloved character, Rodan, is going to be once again on stream, the most represented character here, so everyone loves him. But this time it's going to be the air symbol versus Shin Godzilla, which I believe is on the death symbol. I'll have to take a look at our next slide in just a moment, but we've got Shin Godzilla, who is very, very, very different type of control than Rodan.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on Chaos. Even better.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, Shin Godzilla doing the stage destruction tricks across the board. That's the way it controls, by limiting its opponent's resources. And we're getting at least the Air Godzilla, which this listed as balance and speed manipulation. This, I anticipate, will be slightly more aggressive than a lot of the Rodans we've seen up until this point.
Yeah, Rodan just really, really good at blocking, so why not invest most of your resources into being aggressive? I actually got the chance to play against Jake and this Rodan. It was one of my 3 losses in Swiss. All my losses in Swiss were 2 Rodans, but this flavor was specifically very, very aggressive. It's incredibly good at playing lots of attacks, scouting your checks, drawing cards, and pumping stats. And in our first game, and I think we only had time to play one, it came down to exactly the last check in the deck. He had 1 more card left afterwards. If he had to play 1 more card to kill me, he would have cycled out. So this deck is very slim for a Rodan deck as well.
Yeah, I think this is also the first 7-hander against 7-hander match I've actually been able to spectate today.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I think maybe me too. We might have seen like a Rodan pony. It's been a long day.
It has been a long day. But here we are in the final round, through the heat, through the technical difficulties, and through some excellent, exciting gameplay.
Yeah, starting off with a Science Bros here seems pretty good. And we might not have seen it, but there's actually a first form Genkai's guidance, which is basically an extra review for Marcus, but it looks like he had to discard a foundation card. So unfortunately, not something he's going to get to build, but we're going to draw back up to our hand size +1 for going second. And only a 3 build from Rodan, but it's a little deceptive. Oh, we are going for it. Monster of the Deep on a 5 as the first form of the game?
Absolutely no fear whatsoever. Shin Godzilla saying, give me that.
Absolutely incredible. So that's going to cause the rival to sacrifice a foundation, and then Shin Godzilla is going to get to respond and get a power token out of that. That is absolutely incredible. Now we're going to see the Chomp. This time it's targeted. I was going to say deceptively, we have a loot box, so we could maybe use Invisible Infiltration to keep rebuilding foundations off that. But 2 foundations gone out of your turn 1 build. Absolutely what the Shin Godzilla deck wants to see, what it's trying to do. And now we're playing on a 4 curve. We checked a 4 check attack. So you got to imagine that all of those AOT destruction high difficulty cards are going to be what this deck is focusing on.
Yeah, Mark is looking at Jake and saying, you went first. No, you didn't.
No, you did not, sir. We even have 2 power tokens. Incredible. Yep, checking a 4 there. Going to commit our character. The response on Shin Godzilla is tenacious. And now, Shin Godzilla is really interesting because you can give the rivals attack 2 damage and then commit Shin Godzilla when you get hit to basically make the rival sacrifice a foundation. You'll gain 1 health back and get a power token. But the response is tenacious. So Jake is going to go in and attack on a 4 here with Electric Moth. We're going to have to read this card, discard a card, draw 2 cards. Pretty simple effect, very strong effect. And if our rival gets too many foundations, we'll get to draw 3. So we're going to take a quick look at that, see if there's anything we want to do. No response on Marcus's side, it looks like.
Yeah, we've seen this card played in almost every deck that can play this card on those symbols. Just giving you more consistency, being able to kind of sculpt your hand a little bit more, or dig if you need.
Yeah, it looks like we discarded an Electric Moth, and we got a Hunter's Ally and another foundation off the top for it. So it looks like Jake's trying to filter the attacks out of his hand
in order to
draw more foundations, because that is typically how you beat a a resource denial deck like Shin Godzilla. Is you just don't attack, you just build and build and build, and the way that you lose is by drawing attacks and not being able to build.
Right. And then Mark is activating that Inspiring Song Enhance, milling 3 to give -1 to Jake's check.
Yeah, and it looks like we had a Science Bros activation to draw a card here.
Yeah, after looking at those top 2 cards, set it up so that he could get the foundation off the top and not the Hunter's Ally that he saw, and then drawing that foundation.
Yep. And we are going to completely block this. The Giant Enhance means Rodan does get to ready itself after the Electric Moth, one of the things that the hidden text on the card. And then we knew we were checking a 3 with the -1. So playing out these 1 diffs, playing out this low curve, aggressive spam foundation build. But we basically didn't get to go first. It doesn't feel like we went first here. It looks like we're catching up in build. And so 2 power tokens in the stage for Shin Godzilla. If there is an opening against this Rodan, that's +4 damage. That's a pretty significant chunk. Oh, and here's Ravages of War, one of the most classic resource denial cards we've got, because it denies a lot of different resources. First, it's going to make the rival sacrifice a foundation. Then it's going to make the rival discard a card. And if the rival had a momentum, they would lose a momentum as well. So an incredibly effective blitz.
Again, just showing the strength of this, Shin Godzilla. And as you stated earlier, just a different type of control deck.
Yeah, just, attacking one singular part of the game here. And it looks like we're going to go through the blitz. We're going to discard an attack. We're going to lose a foundation. And we don't have a momentum, or we would lose that as well. Choosing to keep the Science Bros makes sense, even though typically you want to lose committed resources before ready ones. But Jake is playing for next turn. He's playing to have the stats necessary to win the game.
Yeah.
So.
And Mark is already generating 3 power tokens going at the start of his turn 2. If he sees an opening, again, we talked about this earlier, them being 7-handers, they both have low health totals. 21 is not a lot in this game with those power tokens. Rodan Enhance to reduce the speed.
Yeah, Rodan bringing this down to a reasonable speed level. The 8 high 10 becomes a 5 high 10. That just looks like a normal move. But Rodan is typically used to blocking 2 speed moves, so this could get a little dicey still. And it looks like we looked at the top. One of them's in attack. Is the other one in attack? I don't think so.
I think that's 3 to foundation.
Yeah, I think there's a 5 on top, luckily. However, that's still going to cause Rodan to commit out if we block with a +3 block mod.
I think we have an Electric Moth in hand and a Hunter's Ally for this block. All right, choosing a half block with the Hunter's Ally.
Yeah, tough stuff. Taking 5 on the half. They're going down to 16, but it's unlikely that decks that play these 4-check high difficulty cards tend to play more than 1 attack in a turn. However, what's rough about the partial block is now that we dealt damage, Shin Godzilla can optionally commit itself, which it's pretty much always going to do in a deck like this, to make you sack another foundation. That's another power token. We now have half of Rodan's remaining health in power tokens. So that is very, very difficult to maneuver around sometimes, very difficult to play around when your rival just has lethal on any move basically sitting in their stage. And that was 2 more resources taken away on that turn.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus already built up to 8 foundations, Jake at 3, and again, Jake went first this game.
Yeah, as much as it doesn't look like it. So now we got some queens in hand. That does build us some resources. We could do some ramping. So we're going to count up the discard pile. It looks like there is enough cards there that we're just going to be able to draw one. But it looks like we drew another attack. And we're going to play it and potentially blink our face down so we can draw again. Or sometimes you draw off the Science Bros and blink that. There's a lot of different options you can have. I love Invisible Infiltration, very versatile attack, and it's relatively unassuming. Like it's what you would consider a low damage, or not low damage, but a low statted attack. 3 low 5 on a 4 diff is very like normie stats, but it scales late into the game, which is very, very cool. So
yeah, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, where I mentioned that I forgot how much I enjoy this card.
Yes.
I mean, it seems to have seen a resurgence now because the symbols that are, air good. They're
So many good cards to rebuild now.
Yes. And so, every time I see this slap on the table, again, we talked about this too, from my era of, falling in love with this game and learning to play this game. And so it makes me so happy.
Yeah, so I would not be surprised here if we don't see the +1/+1 from Science Bros, and then a card draw, and then the remove Science Bros. I was thinking that we would do a face down just to get more Science Bros triggers for the damage. But as far as like actual card economy, I think it's better to draw with Science Bros and reset that.
Especially with a hand as, aggressive as his hand is now. I guess he still has those 2 queens.
And I guess it's about the same if you blink the form flip draw card, because you still end up with the 3 readies, you still end up with that many cards, but you lose out on speed and damage. So actually, it's probably better to blink the plundering here. Now that I'm reevaluating the stat manipulation, you'll end up with the same number of cards in hand, actually.
Yeah, this unassuming 3 low 5 is all of a sudden an 8 low for 9.
Yes. Yeah, this one is also a huge chunk of Shin Godzilla's health. And it looks like Shin Godzilla is going to opt to take the 9, going down to 14. This card's going to come back in the stage. We're not going to immediately draw another card because we know what our check is.
On the 6, checks the 5, gets to build that down.
Yep. And this is one of the places where, as much as I enjoyed Shin Godzilla, like, I'm usually not a resource denial player, but the mini game is kind of fun with Shin Godzilla because you can do it outside of attacks. And, like those quirky actions, like playing the Monster of the Deep on a 5 as your first card is the kind of game plan. It's quirky stuff like that I really appreciate about this game. And so, but one of the things that's making it really weak right now is it's so easy for a lot of decks and a lot of symbols to ramp foundations. But we are going to see the +1 block off the female Titan attacks come in. And we're going to, even though this was an 8-speed move, we're still going to be able to block it. But the Queen train doesn't stop.
Building that down again, clearing that progressives. This is what we've seen these air decks do, whether it be Pony, whether it be this aggressive Rodan, is even though he only had 3 foundations to start, all of a sudden he's playing on almost no progressive and getting to rebuild his stage.
Yep. And if he plays Queen like 30 more times, you'll win the over-under. You'll win the over-under with Barrett.
Yeah, I believe. No, I've already given up.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with Ryan Levine, who's playing Armored All Might, and he's like, if you had a single one of my matches on, you would have already hit the quota.
Right, yeah. It's just Queens back and forth, yeah. All right, so we got the Mondo Gecko in stage, which is very cool. He's got elusive, so you have to attack him with the second attack of the turn or greater,
right.
Which I don't think the Shin Godzilla deck's going to play multiple attacks in a turn very, very often. We might get to that point. There might be some lower difficulty stuff to mix in, but here comes another 8 diff Ravages of War. We're going to check a 4, but that's fine because we got History's Greatest Monsters here, which those are basically going to count as 2 foundations throughout the turn. Very, very powerful stuff. And we got Display of Might here, which is playable while committed. Response after you play a card with a difficulty, I believe, 7 or greater, or maybe it's 8 or greater, you get to draw a card. But you play a big high difficulty move, you get to draw a card, and then the History's Grace will ready themselves. And now the rival's going to lose their momentum, lose one of their 2 cards in hand, lose one of those foundations. You're going to gain a health and get a power token. So many things happening from one game event.
And I can't quite make out what card it is that Jake still has in his hand, but only has 1 card left in hand.
Yeah, we do have the option to draw off the Science Bros, but that would mean committing another resource, and these aren't necessarily guaranteed blocks. The Mondo Gecko is definitely going to help, though. I definitely expect this one to get blocked, but it might open the door for another attack from Shin Godzilla. Oh, wait, we can just kill Mondo Gecko, can't we? With Devastating Loss? It's asset or backup. It looks like Mondo Gecko was already activated for this attack, so that might not be the thing that matters the most.
That's correct. Devastating Loss does say sacrifice, destroy 1 rival asset or a backup.
Which, if we were going to try to play another attack this turn, and Rodan ends up with no cards in hand, or 1 random card and commit it out, excuse me, that might not be the move, but because again, this move could be lethal with all of our power tokens.
Correct.
We can make basically any 7 or 8 diff lethal now. Now the Science Bros is committed. If Marcus has any attack that he can pass, he can win this game. Oh!
Goes for another one. Checks a
Checks a
4.
8 and 9. Yep, just got to commit one more.
Debating on whether or not it's his character.
Yeah, which directly shouldn't matter here because you're about to get another power token, right?
Correct.
I think he's worried about something that doesn't exist. I get the impression that Marcus is a newer player. He didn't really want to be on stream, you know, and unfortunately it was just the most interesting match we had. I get the impression that any other player, you know, experienced player, they windmill slam this and they offer the handshake, you know. They say, hey, this kills you and we don't even have to play it out. So it looks like, you know, with no cards in hand, no ability to draw, not even an outwit to activate, there's nothing that Marcus really has to be worried about. He just doesn't want to mess up. You know, he's afraid of there being a response from, I guess there could have been a response on play. There could have been Genkai's guidance from Jake, and that's why he was worried about holding something up. But the Ravages of War gets rid of the last card in the hand.
Yeah.
Or no, there wasn't even a card in hand. That
Jake currently has no cards in hand. And I think that might be, I don't think Marcus actually realized that he didn't have any cards left in hand.
That might have been
after seeing, you know, activating that and then seeing him not discard anything because he has nothing, going, all right, I'm counting this up. This is lethal. And Jake going, yeah, it is.
But it's okay because I would much rather be in Marcus's shoes and not making mistakes.
Correct.
Than I would be in Jake's shoes playing quickly and getting thrown in the dumpster. Because that was pretty, for going second, that was pretty one-sided.
Hey, credit to Marcus for having the guts, knowing that he is, I mean, I guess that 5 is, now that we've seen his attack lineup and knowing that all of his attacks check a 4, I guess it wasn't as risky as I first thought.
No. But I think there might be a 3 he might be playing. The 9-3 that also has like a your rival sacks 1, commits 1, whatever, but I haven't seen it. I don't know for sure. I just know that one is a lot of times included in those resource denial decks. But yeah, Marcus is just trying to make sure that he doesn't mess anything up, that he doesn't make any mistakes, and I can't blame him for that because this is the final round of Swiss. This is a high pressure environment, but Jake could have helped him out. Jake could have. Jake was waiting to see if he would. Jake was waiting to see if he'd not use the power tokens. Which, all fair to him, I'd probably do the same thing.
Yes. I mean, we are in round 8, making sure. Hey, press all the buttons.
Yeah,
right? Press all the buttons.
I'd have to wait till you use a power token, and then I'd probably scoop.
Yeah.
Once you remember they're there.
Yeah.
You know, you do this. Sit there with your arms folded. You know.
Yes. All right. It doesn't look like either of these players are reached for a sideboard. I think they're just going to go again. And again, I think it's just a situation where, you know, Jake just has to get out with a better build in the beginning and then, you know, be able to stabilize a little bit quicker. I mean, we did see him get to a point and start to build the stage and be able to play even on those 3 foundations. Chunk, Shin Godzilla, Pit, Mark is in a little bit of danger, so... I will say it is refreshing to have an 18-minute game go off the stream.
Yeah, we had a decently quick one earlier with me and Barrett. I finally got Tam to stop sending me Airwall decks. You know, he's like, "Do you want Deku versus Midori on the move?" And I was like, "Please, anything but. Please don't." Yeah. Normally I'm that guy. Don't get me wrong. Normally I'm that guy, but like 3 in a row, I gotta put the kibosh on that.
All right, I think. Looking at Jake's hand, I do believe that he is going to have a much wider build this turn than he did the last one.
Certainly going to be aiming for it. If he didn't realize that he was up against the resource denial king,
building out.
He does now.
Building out that Batra Arise, Ruthless Guardian.
Nice. Yeah, solid 5 build. That's exactly what you want to see. Now the question is, Does Marcus risk the Monster of the Deep again? Because it turns out it's actually guaranteed.
Yeah.
You actually can't fail it the way he's playing the deck. So will we see it, or do we see some disrespectful? Oh, nope, there
we're going to
goes.
see it once again. Checks the 5.
Yep. Rival sacks one.
Generates a power
Respawn.
token already. Yeah, no chomp this time, so we are going to get a build out.
No doubles. I'm wondering if he's playing a true board wipe. I don't know if we've seen the board wipe yet.
Speaking of chomp, just check that. Checked another Monster of the Deep. Yeah.
Got the display of might now.
Yeah.
Nope, that one passed. You
Yeah,
gotta
that one's
commit
on
the
a 5.
character. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
I will say I would be a little bit nervous of, building out too wide. Again, we saw Jake being able to play a lot of attacks on just 3 foundations.
Jake got Marcus down to like 7 health or 6 health. Like he dealt 15 out of 23 or something very easily off almost no foundation. So, and again, this Rodan deck really is built to chain together multiple card pool clearing, multiple queens, multiple ramp abilities to be able to dig through the deck really, really fast. But the best way to beat a resource denial deck is to just build the resources and not risk it early. So this seems really solid from Jake. I have to imagine that, if there was an advantage meter, it'd be swinging towards Jake's side right now, just on the sole premise that he got to build well 2 turns in a row.
I also think the only 2 attacks in Jake's hand were those alternate art walk dogs. And so those would have been on a true
The old
8
Borderlands
here. Yes.
walk the dogs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to anticipate that Marcus is going to build out a gun. He's playing such high difficulty attacks that even on... Oh, maybe I am just... Here we go.
Yeah, Ravages of War is something you want to get out as early as possible. This is an attack that you want to play on turn 2 pretty much every time that you're going to play it. It does get weaker and weaker as the game goes on. Yep, and there goes, I believe Jake has 2 cards in hand now. Oh. Sorry, we had a little kerfuffle behind the scene. We went silent for a minute here, but it's getting sorted. Hopefully you guys can hear us. But we are going to get some card draw off the Science Bros for Jake here, hopefully to alleviate some of this Ravages of War issue. Now the Team Hero with the +1 block mod. Another amazing thing this card does is block high attacks very, very easily. So we're going to block on a 6, check a 5. Simple Rodan gameplay. But if we could pass another big attack. Nope, we're just going to go for the Chomp, which is just as good in most instances. Now, will Marcus correctly identify the foundation that I think he needs to Chomp here? What do you think? What would you target?
I mean, I want to stay alive. I think I'm chopping the Science Bros.
Yeah, I think Science Bros is the highest priority. Bachelor Arrives is pretty close.
Sure, yes.
Because we do have some pretty nice foundations on our own side. But I think that Science Bros is the target I would usually go for. If only because we've seen Jake choose the Science Bros to keep committed rather than ready foundations.
Instead, it looks like we chose the treasure hunting.
The card draw, which it does make a little bit of sense because resource denial decks really do try to prey on your consistency, and we've already seen how he can reuse that effect, the form flip to draw a card multiple times.
I just think my logic is also he's currently has 2 Batra arrives, so you're only taking 1 off the stage if you chop that. If you go after treasure hunting, he had 2, you're only getting 1 off the stage.
Right, you're not denying like a specific type of effect.
Correct.
And that's something that always feels bad. Sometimes it is correct to get rid of one of the 2 Batras so you can fight through it, but typically you want to eliminate a uniqueness. You know, you want to say, well, one of the things you can do is cancel and seal, but one of the things you can do is pump, damage, and draw, and you can only get rid of one of those completely, right?
Okay, does look like Jake is going to activate the treasure hunting that is still around. And we do know that he has 2 Walk the Dogs in hand, which will be 5s if he chose to play them now because the 3 committed on the side of Marcus. I also saw Queen of the Monsters.
I also saw Hunter's Ally, so it looks like we're going to be going real deep here. I have to imagine Jake's going to try to go for it this turn. We've got plenty of resources for the Rodan deck to work. I don't think there's any defensive foundation destruction, any defensive resource denial outside of the Shin Godzilla effect, but that would require Shin Godzilla to take damage anyways. So, yeah. And this is the reason not to hit Science Bros. So if we're going to talk about the pros and cons, the reason not to hit Science Bros is because Hunter's Ally, similar to the backups, will just build it again. But now Hunter's Ally is going to build Team Hero, which could theoretically provide damage pump if we meet those circumstances, and or build us another resource that Shin Godzilla has to destroy anyways. So, you know, kind of pick your poison with that one.
Yeah.
Now we're going to have 1 extra resource, but it is committed, but that does matter more against a deck that's making sack foundations, because just having a committed sack outlet is fine. Also, Battle Holds the Answer is a fantastic card to build committed in this deck.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think that's what across the games I've seen, I think Battle Hold the Answer has been the most effective, because that is when you actually push Team Hero on your turn, versus when you don't have access to that, you're pushing it on your opponent's turn so that you just have 1 extra ready foundation and start yours.
It's also a really fun way to get the damage pump on subsequent team heroes to be to be online, because it is a foundation that leaves the stage when you put it on top of your deck.
Okay. Marcus blocking this Hunter's Ally, having to commit his entire stage -1. And now we have that Queen of the Monsters I mentioned earlier.
Yep, Queen on a 6. I'm going to blitz, build this down, get that extra resource. The resource denial looking like it's just a little too late. Too little, too late now that Rodan has 7 foundations. And it's only going to go up from there.
Also of note, with that block, Marcus does now have enough committed foundations that if he wants to play these Walk the Dogs, they are only going to be 4 difficulty.
Yeah, Marcus could also theoretically be destroying the team hero if he really wanted to, but I don't know if that's truly a priority yet or not. But I think all of these moves are going to be too fast for Marcus to block. And yeah, there's the first Walk the Dog. This one's going to be for at least 7. We're going to see the stun and the draw. And realistically, we're just looking for 1 extra damage. I don't know if we have a way to activate the team hero damage, if we have a way to make a card leave our stage. Looks like we're going to commit Science Bros looking for that last attack, and I think we found it. Because we did find an Electric Moth. Is there not? Oh, I thought there was 2 Walk the Dogs.
I thought there was.
That's what happens when we're trying to repeat
Yeah.
Someday we'll have the technology for hand cams. Someday, once we get that sweet, sweet Riftbound money. Send us over some of them Riftbound bags.
All right, so what do you do here? Do you play the Electric Moth, keep digging? I mean, you do have the opening here. You can't
I'm
just
a
end
gambler.
it. Yeah, there it
I'm
is.
a gambler.
Apparently,
If
so
I
is
draw-
Jake.
Yeah,
Plays it on a
check the
6, checks a 6. It was always meant to be.
If I draw anything, I win, right?
Correct.
Boom.
And there's another Queen of the Monster.
And we can build in the Battle Holds the Answer, stack the 6 on top. I mean, even a breaker here.
Yeah, I think
Because at this point, Marcus has one ready resource with the character. He'd have to block a obscenely fast move and hit some kind of like crazy defensive trick, and I just don't see it happening.
I think we were just looking at the end of the game now.
Yeah, can't fail this
The
one.
monster. On
Yeah.
the 8, we know we have the 6 on top. Marcus goes, you got it.
Now we're gonna go to game 3 though.
Marcus not waiting for Jake to push all his buttons.
No. Yeah. Well, I mean, Jake waited for him to start talking about the power tokens. He didn't make him spend them all at once, or one at a time.
Yeah.
But yeah. So now we are going to get to see the Shin Godzilla go first, and that is another caveat historically of the resource denial decks is that of all the aggro decks that you think are better going first and going second, resource denial decks are way better at going first than they are at going second.
Absolutely.
99% of the time. So we've seen Marcus do really well with that Monster of the Deep going second guaranteed. When you go first, you have even more resources and the ability to play even more of them. It gets even scarier. So it'll be interesting to see what this matchup looks like with Shin Godzilla going first.
Yeah, once again, neither player sideboarding. Just saying, all right, let's go. I'm ready. Both playing aggro decks. Just wanting to get done with round 8, get done with the day.
Yeah. Just trying to fight through this last final round. Potentially get some top cut prizing. Get some extra prize wall tickets.
Okay, 30 minutes left in the round, 30 minutes left in the day. After this, I believe we are going to have the announcement of our top 8. I cannot wait to see who pulls it out and what that top 8 looks like.
Yeah, this top 8's probably going to be a little funky. The assumption is definitely going to be Rodan Pony.
Yep.
And yet I wouldn't be that surprised if realistically, because it's only a top 8, I wouldn't be that surprised if only one of each actually makes it in by the end of it. We're almost guaranteed to have a Zeke Titan, Zeke Jaeger Beast Titan. So frustrating to say. And then we're almost guaranteed to have an Anguirus from what I've seen. And we're almost guaranteed to have a Pony and a Rodan. But we really can't know until the very end. But the top 3 tables did ID. So I believe I only saw one Rodan and one Pony through them as I was walking by. But if there's multiples of those, they should all be guaranteed in. So Disrespectful Banter, this is a really, really powerful card that doesn't get played very often. It causes your rival to sacrifice a face-up foundation, and then you get damage bonus equal to their block mod. And a lot of people don't like this one because you sack one, they sack one, and then they block. And it's like, what did I really accomplish? But for a character like Shin Godzilla, where the resource denial is the whole plan, and you get a power token out of it, and you gain a health, is a pretty big deal. But you can only do it during your own turn, during your own attack.
All right, going to fail the dartboard. Getting a 4 built out. Once again, Jake starting off with that Bachelor arrives. That battle holds the answer. That treasure hunting. And I'm contemplating the Shobujins or the Fearsome Transformation. Oh, Shobujins.
Yeah, Shobujins is a little weird here because Breaker 2 will guarantee that the rival can't play another 8 div. But how likely were they to attempt it? And that's very unfortunate that we're not going to get a 5th foundation here, because I have to imagine Marcus is going to get multiple resource destructions here. Multiple foundation destructions on this turn 2. Can we see a Monster of the Deep? We do. On a 5, the classic. The Marcus of the Deep.
All right, there goes that Shobujins we just got in stage.
Yep. Jake feeling the same way. This doesn't really stop my opponent from playing another deck that often. If we check a 5 here, oh, it's so good. Now,
Second verse, same as the first. Again, we see the Ravages of War.
Yeah, now we have to decide between multiple foundation destruction effects here, because I believe we've got the one that ends the turn. I can't remember what it's called, but it's the 2/5. You just get to target, destroy something, but your turn ends afterwards. And usually that one's a little risky to keep up because you might have to commit to play foundations throughout the turn. And if you fail to check to play the foundation, then your turn ends anyways, so you don't get to use it. But instead, we're going to save the disrespectful banter for a move that is more likely to deal damage. -3 speed once again, 5 high for 10. We've seen this song and dance before. This attack has gotten partial blocked at this damage value, though, which would cause Jake to go down to 1 foundation. And then if Marcus gets to activate the 2 diff, he would go down to 0 foundations.
Checks a 3.
Oh, no. This is absolute terror. Gonna take 10 damage, gonna lose another resource, gonna get another power token, and then unless Marcus has to commit that foundation in order to play another card, which I would just play guaranteed foundations and just snipe the last foundation. We're gonna destroy a 4 build. He built 4 foundations turn 1, and he's going to lose them all on turn 2. Oh, never mind. Batra cancels that one.
Yep.
Never mind. Never mind. I forgot that was a Batra for a second. I was so hype on the potential.
That alternate art.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Kind of misplayed into the Batra actually by sacking one actually, but
just gave one up for free.
Yeah, yeah. Whoops. We'll chomp that one later.
Yeah,
we'll chomp that one later.
All right, sorry.
Still crazy though.
Yeah.
Still crazy to get 3 out of the 4, and the only reason you got to keep the 4th is because it's potentially the best foundation in the game right now. Hunter's Ally going to come in, luckily checking a 5, so we don't have to commit everything. We will get the Science Bros back. Only 1 speed here, but 1/1 from Science Bros is still going to make this very annoying for Marcus to deal with. His staging area is not super duper healthy, so.
And it looks like Jake has 2 invisible infiltrations and a Queen of the Monsters in hand.
Thought they were calling Judge over for a second, but it looks like they were, looking at something else. So, yeah, Jake trying to figure out how much can I really push my luck? Do I want to commit the Rodan? The worst thing that could happen here is you commit Rodan and see 2 3s, and then you're like,
then you just build, your turn's over.
Yeah, and then I was building anyway.
Yes.
So,
but I mean, if you're planning on building anyway, you don't bother looking, right? If you're just going to stabilize. Right. It looks like Mark is asking for clarification on a card.
Yeah. It's like he's asking not the judge, though. Looks like he was asking Cameron Cardwell, who famously will tell you himself he's not the judge.
Again, this matchup is super interesting because not only is it the resource denial of Shin Godzilla, but this Air Rodan deck is playing a lot of cards that just build stuff back in, right? So it's kind of this back and forth. We see the Hunter's Ally building and then Science Bros. We've seen the Queen of the Monsters building down the cards in the foundation. We've seen the Invisible Infiltration basically building by blinking 1, potentially committed back in.
Yeah, but these base high speed moves, and the power tokens in the stage means if there's any opening for Marcus here, just like game 1, you can cash in those power tokens and even potentially on a partial, find lethal. So this will be very, very interesting to see.
Unfortunately, from this angle, can't see what his options are for attacks. Yeah. And of course, while he has 5 ready foundations, he has 6 in essence because that History's Greatest Monster is always going to activate.
Right. Really thinking about this one, thinking about which attack to play. Because I don't think we'd be deliberating this much over a build turn, but it has happened. Yep, gotta read the Divine Defender. You gotta play 3 attacks. I don't know if the Shin Godzilla deck has ever played 3 attacks in a turn. It's very difficult when you got 8 diff, 8 diff, 7
Yes.
diff. So it's so tough too because Rodan really can just block these.
Yes.
You know, if you're only gonna play 1 attack, it really will come down to like a very normal speed. And I felt like we got a little lucky with the 3 check on the turn before this. But
also, when you look at not just the speed reduction, he's got 4 ready foundations. One of those being the battle holds the answer, so that will help guarantee his check.
that is your turn only.
Oh, you were right. You were 100% right.
A lot of people read that and they think
Yes.
that Tenacious is your
Yes,
turn
no,
only. But the
it's-
whole thing is
your turn only.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Yeah, I fell
I've
for
made-
that too.
I've made that
actually.
mistake twice this weekend, and I should know this because
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I love Knockdown Blow. Yeah. I fell for that too the first time though. I thought that your turn
yes,
was only for the Tenacious part.
again, in preparation for this event, I play tested a bunch of decks that I thought were going to be relevant and cards I thought were going to be relevant, and I sat across from this card so many times and
Yeah.
still made that mistake.
Yep, but Knockdown Blow is super, super cool because it gives +3 to your next check to play a shift attack or a backup. But if it's a shift attack, it'll get 3 damage. And so I kind of expect there to be a female Titan attacks after this.
Mhm.
I don't think that there is a shift attack that denies face-up foundations. There's a couple ruining ones, but no face downs in Rodan stage. So
Responding with that History's Greatest Monster to ready a backup.
yeah, we'll see. We got +3 to our next check, potentially, depending on how this turn goes. We have Destroya emerges, which can target Batra arrives if we sack all 3 power tokens.
And Jake only at 11 health, so we are in a situation where if there's an opening, 1 attack will do it with those power tokens.
Yeah, the real question is, does he need those resources ready to play the next card? Or can he deny the opponent foundations by using disrespectful banter and Destroya emerges? Which now Destroya emerges, he could sack 0 tokens and try to target the face down just to deny the resource and get a power token back. All right, we're going to make this lethal. So Rodan does have to block this one.
But we did see Jake just get a team hero, which has that great high block on it.
Yep. That +1 high block, so this is going to be very blockable.
Yep.
Still going to cost Rodan 1 resource, though. On a 6.
Ooh, checks the 3.
No, it's going to cost him 3 resources. This is exactly what the resource denial deck wants to see. It wants to prey on your bad luck. And this is a shift attack, so it will get +3 to the check. This is Jaw Titan's attack, or Jaw Titan attacks. Not the Jaw Titan bites, Jaw Titan attacks. This is a 6 low for 6, I believe. So probably the slowest of the 4 check attacks, or I think there might be a 5-speed mid on the large Titan attacks, but this is one of the slower ones. However, we did pass the check easily, and it's going to come in for 9 damage, which +2 from Shin means we can make it lethal very, very easily. Also gains his 2 health on a blitz.
We do know, once again, that Jake has a very, very good low block in his hand with that Queen of the Monsters.
Yeah, but he has a +1 high or +1 block on top of his discard pile, so he's only gonna get -1 speed. This is gonna be 5, 6, 7. We have to check a 6 on this. He's looking for how many 6s are left in his deck. Battle Hold Xancer is in the stage. I don't know if there's any other 6 checks in Jake's deck other than Battle Hold Xancer, but we're gonna go for it.
And
He's gonna check a 5,
and that is the game.
and it's not enough. The Jaw Titan attacks, takes down Rodan with 2, count of 1, 2 hits. Oh my goodness, that is not how I expected our day to end, partner.
Hey, but I'm glad that that's what we got to see. We got to see some aggro after a long, long day, and we got to see something unique in the form of this Shin Godzilla and this denial.
I don't even know if I would really call either of them truly, truly aggro, right? Because when I think of aggro personally, I don't think of playing a lot of attacks. What I think of is aggro decks are typified by the fact that they will not play traditional defense. Because think of any game, even a creature-based game, what do aggro decks not do? Right? Usually you can define things by what they don't do as much as what they do. And so the fact that like even in a creature-based game, aggro decks don't block your creatures and they just say, well, I will have more health than you. And Rodan doesn't quite do that. Shin Godzilla doesn't quite do that. But it was great to see them going after each other, dealing that damage. And every single moment was pulse pounding from the beginning with the monster of the deep to the very end.
Yep. Okay. Oh, what an exciting 8 rounds. You know what I would like to do if we get a chance while we're waiting for Tam's interview is if we could take a look at the top 16 snapshot.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about having kind of an idea of what our top 8 is going to look like.
Yeah, I think we can know 6 of them if the information I was told was correct. Tables 1, 2, and 3 ID'd. So Cole, Jake's teammate, Nathan DeWalt, Zach Richards, Henry C., Jet K, and Andrew P should all be guaranteed in. And then I believe these last couple tables all the way down to table 8 had to play for it. So Marcus has a pretty good chance to squeeze in, but I think there's only going to be 2 spots left in the top 8 if, again, the top 3 tables IDing is correct. And they didn't mess up the math because there are some players out there who have ID'd in the final round and they didn't make top cuts.
Bubbled out. Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting. I think a lot of these tables, I think we have draws in table 5, 6, 7, then Marcus still has a chance.
Right, yeah. It would probably take some, which we saw Elijah run into that, the unintentional draw with Gavin, who's at table 4. So, Biolante, not exactly the fastest deck. It'd be pretty hard to draw against a Mikasa, but I wouldn't put it past them. So it is still possible. And Barlow, one of the better, defensive players, played Rodan in Vegas. We see Jet and Barlow both running it back. So,
we saw Justin early in round 2. Result in a draw. So
right. So it is possible that these players trying not to lose ended up with some draws in between, but also table number, not the best identifier.
Of course.
I've definitely been at like table 4 and then was like, that's crazy. I don't have the best record. So table numbers are randomly generated like through whatever your bracket is. So it's not strictly that table 7 has better records than table 8 every time. Sometimes they have the same. So this could be one of those cases where all of these tables are pretty similar, but I'm not really that math guy. I let Cardio mess that up, and if everyone gets mad, they get mad at Cardio. So I'm gonna let the UGN work its magic, and we're gonna figure that out later. But it looks like Tam is getting the interview set, so very shortly we'll have that winner's interview for what I have to say is the most unique deck we've seen all day on stream.
Okay. Yeah. And then after the interview, of course, we will get our actual top 8 announcement.
Yeah, we're still finalizing that out. This is one of the few times our stream game didn't go over the full round timer. So I think there is still 1 or 2 games being played. I'm not sure if they're at those top tables, but I do see a couple people at that first row still playing. So we might still need 1 or 2 of the results to come in. But that being said, we do have your winner's interview.
What's up, everybody? Round 8 is in the books, and I've got a bit of story to tell. Round 5?
Yeah.
I came to you and I said, I want to put you on stream, and Marcus here was like, absolutely not. Go find somebody else. Go bother somebody else. Round 8, everybody had started playing around you, and you were for sure the coolest deck in the room at the moment.
Thank you.
So I demanded you were on stream. You gave me a huff, and you ended up taking it down. How you feel, man?
Well, still super nervous.
Good.
Because, this is the best I've ever kind of placed so far. Whether I make it in the top cuts or not, I normally end around the middle. So I feel like this has been quite a breakout event for me.
I love that. What do you think is the big change? Do you think it was a character, a mentality? What was the practice leading up to it?
Well, I don't know if you know my son Cohen Nugent. So I think he's one of the best players in the world. And he bullies me every week. We play every week, and he trains with Let's Talk UVS, and they get a lot of good practice in. And Cohen trains me, so I get the pass down from that. So I just try and keep up with him, so we can have fun and play together.
Well, you're doing incredible. Maybe you should start giving him a couple lessons after this weekend.
I can't ever beat him.
Maybe he should switch off Rodan into Shin Godzilla. Tell me about the pick. Not a ton of representation for Shin. What were your thoughts going into the event with this character?
That surprises me because in locals that I played recently around Texas, there's been quite a few Shins. So quite surprised there's less. I think Shin's super good. I was playing Rhino 1 last year.
Yeah.
Same kind of package with some slight changes for Shin. And so I've really got a lot of practice on that over the last year. And so, yeah, and I think that's where the improvement is.
I fully agree. I think with Reiner getting the touch, people were not ready for as much stage hate or stage manipulation as what Shin can output. I mean, we saw on stream, they would build up, you would tear them right back down, dealing 10 damage moves every time. So it was a masterclass in showing this is how you're allowed to fight in this current meta versus all of these decks. It was very cool, very awesome to see.
Awesome, thank you.
You're very welcome. Shout outs before we send it back to the casters.
Well, obviously, shout out to Cohen, best in the world. He's going to win Worlds one day. Hopefully, I can follow second. Shout out to my wife, Scarlett, love you. And yeah, that's it, really.
Incredible, man. Well, good luck. I hope we are not bubbling out. I believe.
We'll see.
I believe. The people at home, we believe. With that said, we're going to throw it back to our casters with a couple more announcements and a bit of an overview for this entire event. We'll see you tomorrow.
What an impressive run today. I hope he makes it in. I'm voting for the Shin Godzilla.
Yeah, same here.
I don't need another Armored All Might or Pony or anything. Give me the Shin Godzilla. Give me something I really haven't seen before, truly.
Yeah, no, I think that was the perfect match to end our day. Again, something that we hadn't seen before, something that, I didn't expect to see coming into the event as a whole. I think most of the top 16 that we looked at was more or less what we predicted would happen. A lot of Rodan representation, less ponies converting up to those top tables than I thought. I think that early pony on pony action
got knock each other out,
affected that. And so it was super cool. I had a great time watching that. I had a great time today. Let's take a look again. We are going to get our top 8 soon. I know they just called time in the round. We will get our top 8 soon. Let's see what it is that they are competing for and what they are getting.
This is our event snapshot. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Just a couple of these tables are still figuring it out, still reporting. We do have a Titan of Terror at table 9 just behind the Shin Godzilla. So if it goes that far down somehow, it would be crazy to see post-errata, Titan of Terror, and Shin Godzilla in the same top cut. But here's the event prize. We got the beautiful deck box, the beautiful sleeves telling you where you won in Dallas. The Heihachi mat is absolutely fantastic, but the impenetrable defense is really, I think, the flashiest thing here.
Yeah,
but the star of the show is you get to become a backup.
Yeah, and I said it before, I really like what they've done with these deck boxes and given the skyline, reminding you, essentially, these are just functional trophies, right?
Right.
You can keep it on the shelf if you want, but also take it around, kind of flex a little bit at your locals with them.
That was one of the best things I think Levi did as taking over as head of organized play. Was a lot of people really asked for, give me a souvenir.
Yes.
Give me something branded that says, I went to Dallas, I went this year, I was at this event, and some sort of keepsake, and they did a great job. The Skyline deck box, absolutely beautiful. I mean, what more could you ask for as far as a I went to Dallas souvenir than the Dallas Skyline? The Vegas one, I live in Vegas, so I'm a little partial to it. That one was absolutely phenomenal.
Yep.
The Vegas Skyline is super iconic. It's how they always advertise everything in Vegas. It's showing off the Strat and the hotels and everything. So very cool stuff. But yeah, I'm so excited to see the backups. I want to see Wubb's backup. I want to see Justin Martin's backup, and I want to see whoever wins Dallas's backup again. Hopefully before Worlds.
Yeah. Again, I have said it earlier today. I said it yesterday as well. Seeing everybody play these cool decks, having a great time. There's nothing but laughs and smiles around it, and then also seeing what's on the line, what they're competing for. The FOMO is real. I mean, it's taken a lot for me to not go over. Speaking.
Whoa! I have not seen Tempest Demon Godfist alt art before.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go over all of these announcements. With that impenetrable defense that they were getting, and with the upcoming Tekken set, we do have these alternate arts.
Oh my goodness, that looks so good. I mean, I knew the card was good because you can build it face down, queen style, as long as you spend 2 momentum in the turn. But my goodness, that looks amazing. White Angel of Death. That makes sense. All the Dragunov fans are going to enjoy that one. It's just 6 damage on a 4 div, and it punishes your rival for blocking attacks. You love to see that. But catching a meteor, this is the card I think I'm going to spend the most time brewing around in Tekken, so I might have to pick up some of these alt arts. I'm not usually a big alt art flasher. I'm not usually the guy who's like, I need to get all the different stylings of the cards, but if I'm going to be playing 4 catching a meteor, I might have to pick up 4 of this alt art.
Yeah, see, I'm the opposite. I'm not one of those people who needs every single play set to be the same alternate art. Actually, it drives some of my locals crazy who are that way.
Oh, if I ever get paired into Ryan Levine, I'm going to find 4 different arts of the card.
Oh, it drives them absolutely insane.
Yes.
That's exactly what I was talking about. It drives them absolutely insane. And not only because it's not even that I do 4 different arts, is what I do is I will have just 3 commons and then just the one alt art, which is it's a nice little surprise for me. You know, it comes up, pops up. It's like, oh, look at that.
Yeah, I used to like doing that, but I do definitely like the 4 different versions at this point. One of the reasons that Templar has remained one of my favorite cards is because for a long time in UniVersus, it was one of the only cards with 4 separate printings. You know, granted, one of the printings was a misprint, and they didn't put Breaker on it, but we now have more than one fake Templar out there. So, but yeah, having the different arts and having like 4 different versions of a card is very funny to me, and seeing the rival get tilted by it is so worth it.
Yeah, and I think we can see. We're gonna take a look at some of these other ones that we had.
Yeah, we're gonna go back through most of them, if not all of them, throughout the day. So Trailokea, Pilgrimage, the Breaker 2. Basically, it's like Pristine Swordplay Mini, but it also has a defensive application. Terraforming Cannon, again, hopefully people are not going to mistake this for an asset.
Yeah.
It is very green, but I like that one a lot. And then Frenemies might be the best name of a foundation we're going to get throughout the Tekken set.
Yeah, and again, Frenemies, actually, of all the cards that we've seen today, might be my favorite one as somebody who plays on the water symbol, who loves to block, being able to pick this up from stage. As you mentioned earlier, noted that it doesn't say it has to be ready. It's a static effect, so even if it's committed, you can still do it. 1 mid block and a breaker 1, absolutely incredible.
Yep, you don't have to play an ability or nothing. And we got Sky Burial. This is a weird one for me. The 5 diff 4/4, I've talked about other cards where don't get thrown off by this. Discard a card and draw a card on the Blitz, and if you have a heat token, it doesn't count towards progressive, is pretty strong. And of course, it could also be a 4 diff sometimes.
Yeah. And we mentioned earlier, this has perfect synergy with something like Queen of the Monsters, where if it doesn't count towards progressive, then Queen of the Monster comes in on 5, gets to build it right down. Just more card pool clearing shenanigans and cheating progressive shenanigans for that error symbol.
Yep, and then Enchant d'Axe. Enchant d'Axe has, if you have a heat token, you get a speed for each attack in your card pool. So it's a 5 diff, but you're kind of incentivized to play it later, which I know sounds super yucky, but similar to Destructive Heat Ray, if it deals damage, you get to ready a foundation. So, you know, if you have a heat token and you play this as your second card, it's a 6/6 that readies a foundation. So it was basically a 4 diff 6/6. Very, very solid stuff. You can, of course, do way more amazing stuff with Eddie Gordo going forward. But this is gold. This is a beautiful gold one. I haven't seen Masters touch yet either. 0 diff action. You get to freeze and ready up to 2 foundations in play. Oh my goodness. If you have a heat token in your stage, freeze and ready up to 3 instead. So we got to keep this away from the Mitchell Chimino players. Don't let them know the water symbol exists.
Yeah. All right, next up we got Naniwa, Peacemaker, Knuckle. Blitz, if there are 1 or more counters on your character, add the top card of your deck to your momentum. I love that. Actually, if you look closely, it looks like these two are connecting because of the way the frames are. But we got Death by Degrees.
Are they not?
They're not. They're not.
Purpose,
Yeah. No.
I thought that was actually like the purple from Death by Degrees bleeding over.
Yes, I'll give credit where credit is due, and whoever set this up on production did it so that it looked like that. Death by Degrees saying that after this attack deals damage, you may sacrifice 1 foundation or asset. If you do, destroy 1 card in your rival stage. Otherwise, your rival sacrifices 1 foundation.
Yeah, very, very cool stuff. Death by Degrees, don't let the Shin Godzilla players see that one. And then Cursed Blade Yoshimitsu. I think every time that Yoshimitsu is a character in UniVersus, we gotta print a weapon asset that is the sword Yoshimitsu to go along with it. And I'm glad that this time they decided to not just call it Yoshimitsu, because there is some legacy foundation or assets called Yoshimitsu. I think it's a little confusing, but the Cursed Blade Yoshimitsu is very, very cool. It is very much like a massive mute machine light, but because it's a 5-diff, it's going to be infinitely more playable by decks that don't have to cheat it into play. And of course, Yoshimitsu himself copying that ability is incredibly good.
Yeah. Again, I'm super excited to see these in person because as much as I like the monochrome look that we're seeing here on screen, it doesn't give the full experience of that having
Gotta get that pop.
that foil treatment. Yes, the pop that foil treatment gives.
And we got Coupe de Chevalier. Coupe de Chevalier is a 4 mid for 5 2-check, which seems kind of scary, but after you commit one or more assets, you can choose one that hasn't been chosen during this attack. So you basically get 3 separate effects on this card, which is a lot of effects. And one of them is draw 2 cards, discard a card. One of them is that doesn't count towards progressive. And one of them is to freeze a rival foundation. So very, very potent stuff. I'm not sure where I'm gonna see this one, but I know I'm going to.
Yeah, I actually revealed this card as part of my reveals kit. I think that it's a very powerful effect. I am very 2-check averse.
Right, a lot of people are,
and
a lot of people
it'll be
are,
interesting
but
to see where this fits.
it does seem like Tekken is trying to make the 2-checks a bit more palatable, a bit more worth it, which I like to see. Maybe we could just stop making 3 checks as good as Queen of the Monsters. But, you know, speaking of good checks, we got Band-Aid Order, a 6-check. Return this attack to its printed zone speed and damage. You mentioned earlier we're going to lose Idun Box. Well, we're going to get an action that does it, which as a hand trap, that might even be better than Idun Box ever was. Hand trap resets are very, very scary to have in a format, and this one is an attuned card. So expect the order symbol characters to show up in a big way going forward.
Yeah, and it checks a 6. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Exactly. Twist Reality. This one's amazing. They managed to get one of the boss characters from Tekken 8 onto a card, which is so sick. So we got Azazel here with another pretty much insane action hand trap, which you don't even have to make the check for this one. You just get to seal a rival foundation. That's going to throw people off. And then once you discard it, you can remove it from your discard pile. And after your rival tries to gain a token, you can cancel that. So hating on heat tokens, hating on Roman cancel tokens, hating on power tokens, you know, every set has a token now, so might as well have a card that destroys them.
I do appreciate that action being blue on the alt art, so there's no confusion as well.
Yeah, we are definitely, I promise there's going to be a terraforming cannon, looked like an asset, so I messed up a place somewhere, so we'll have to figure that out. But yeah, the alt arts look so sick. It looks like every ultra rare has an alt art, but what do we know about the secret rares from the set so far?
Funny you should say that. I think we are going to get some of that information tomorrow during
Day 2 in
our top 8. So you're going to have to hold out.
I need to filibuster right now because we're waiting for the top 8 results.
Well, let's talk actually about Tekken and what character you're excited to play the most.
Ooh, in UniVersus or in Tekken?
in UniVersus.
Psych, the answer is the same. It's Reina. I picked up Tekken 8. It was on sale. A lot of the Florida boys, shouts to Coping with Cardboard, pointed me out to that and have helped me a lot because Tekken is, you know, fighting games are not necessarily super easy to pick up and jam, and any tips, any help you can get goes a long way. Trust me. But I used to play King a lot. King is like the character that I like in Tekken the most. But every time a new fighting game comes out, I got to pick up a new character. I got to try something new because I've known a lot of people have played the same guy for 20, 30 years, and like Tekken legacy skills like a real thing. But I definitely think that, you know, dipping your toes into multiple pools is the way to go. So as soon as Tekken 8 came out, I had to tell myself, don't play King. Don't grab people. Don't giant swing them. Try something new. And Reina has been super fun.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was definitely one of those kids who just thought Eddie Gordo was the coolest, right? Just seeing him out there basically spinning around with his legs. And so as a water player and as someone whose favorite character is Asui 3, it's very like this Eddie Gordo is on the water symbol and slightly Asui 3 coded when doing things when things are blocked, being able to draw and stuff like that. And I'm a big fan of that. I'm excited to get home and start brewing that.
All my non like FGC fans, like all my friends who are like not fighting game players, Eddie Gordo is like their favorite to play in Tekken by far. Like, and when I say like not fighting game players, I don't mean they're not good at Tekken. They've played like every Tekken. They play it, you know, against the computer their whole life. They have like legacy skill too. I just mean they don't go to locals. You know, they're not trying to go to Evo or nothing. But every time I boot up Tekken, I'm getting my butt kicked by Eddie Gordo if I'm playing at a friend's house. So I know some really good Eddie Gordo players, and I know one really good Yoshimitsu player, but he started with Eddie. You know, Eddie's still like his main, so it feels like everyone I know loves Eddie Gordo.
Yeah, again, I think part of it as well is just like, you mentioned
He's
earlier.
got style.
He's got style. Yes,
when you're looking at like, to be fair, when you're looking at like the Tekken lineup, like facial expressions and stuff, like Kazuya and Dragunov look like they might be related. They both got scars, they both got facial expressions, and like you've got all the different Mishimas, and everyone has like a sour face, and even like Anna and Nina, they're just like they're standing there, they have weapons, but they're like in normal clothing and stuff. But then you see Eddie, and he's dancing, he's vibing, he's bouncing around, he's got the most unique moves. One of the critiques I really have of Tekken is like a lot of characters share a move, because there's only so many ways you can punch, there's only so many ways you can karate chop. A lot of characters have an axe kick, which in a lot of fighting games like Street Fighter, like there's maybe one character that does an axe kick and everyone else does a different kind of kick because they only have 6 moves. But in Tekken they have 6 million moves. But Eddie, I don't think, shares that many moves with anyone, unless it's who's the girl that he shares? He had a Echo Fighter at one point. I forgot her name, but in his intro when he's playing the instrument, you can see her bandana, and I forgot her name. But at one point Tekken did have like Echo Fighters like Smash, but outside of that, like Eddie is like one of the most unique by far.
Yeah, I'm also excited to just see how and what impact the heat tokens actually have on the game. I mean, we've seen Roman cancel tokens, we've seen power tokens, and we've seen what they've done. They've made a huge impact in the game, and I'm curious to see if heat will have a similar impact.
Yeah, I'm very curious too. Heat does seem by far to be the most parasitic as far as cards that really like for example, there's no card that says you have to sacrifice a power token to play it.
Right.
There's no card that like part of power tokens is that you have to play it. So hopefully the payoffs for that are really strong. I like the idea that an attack is so good that has an additional cost to play it. I'm gonna go a little boomer here for you because we're still trying to get our top cut results. But when I first started playing the game so many years ago, there was an old throw. I think it's a throw at least, but it's like a Gabrick only card. It says it's a like 7 diff or something. It's called 13th Story Oblivion. It's like this huge numbers, huge stats. Only one character gets to do it. And on it has a stack that says, as an additional cost to play this card, you have to spend 1 momentum, right? And I thought, because I just learned the game, I'm like, oh, well, your momentum is like a super meter. That's how it was explained to me. Yeah. So I thought like trying to do super moves would always cost a momentum, and then that was the only card that ever did it for the entire time I played the game. It's like the only card outside like maybe actions, right, where you got to like discard a momentum to like do the ability on it, but like an attack that requires you to spend a momentum specifically just to even attempt playing it, I thought was going to be so normal. So seeing it on a bunch of different cards where you have to sack a heat token to even play it, I'm excited for that. But it could be one of those things where card gamers will always choose the path of least resistance. And if it becomes something like too much of a hoop to jump through, obviously, it might fall flat on its face.
Yeah, well, the good news is we have less than a month to actually figure out and find out when what kind of impact those heat tokens will have when the Tekken set comes out on August 14th. And of course, as we mentioned throughout the day, we are going to have super pre-release at Gen Con. Okay, yep. I'll be there, so make sure to stop by and say
nice,
hi.
Nice.
And then at your
are you attending, or are you gonna be working the booth?
I'm actually attending.
Okay.
On a press badge, actually, and so I'll be going around. Yeah.
Fancy.
I'll be going around, getting to chat with the different developers and chat with booths. And every year that I've gone for the past couple of years, I've had a conversation and thrown up on the channel with Matt from UVS Games. So one of my favorite mandatory stops when I'm at these conventions is to sit down and see what's coming up in UniVersus and what's been brought to the show.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I've only ever been to Gen Con when I'm working it myself. I'm not the biggest like con goer guy. I go to conventions and they had like this thing where you have to like take a picture with a cosplayer to like get a pin or something.
yeah.
I was just like, I'm not really a pin collector, and I'm not really like a take pictures with people guy. So I ended up not really doing too much of that. But I will say the one time I went to Gen Con, it was like a mind-blowing experience. It was like 10 years ago now, but it was just like so crazy how many people are packed into like this one little corner of downtown. And it's really amazing to see like all the different offshoot events. I got invited to go hang out in Indianapolis around Gen Con this year, and I almost took them up on it, but I had the Vegas regional, and then this travel, and then Evo a couple weeks ago, and we've got Atlanta coming up, and I was just like, there's so much going on. You know, I have a personal life trip where I'm hoping to go to Oregon soon. So I was like, man, there's just all this travel. Like Gen Con is one of the more expensive trips. So.
Yeah, Gen Con is also inherently tied with my UniVersus history. The first ever regional I actually went to was at Gen Con in 2023.
Sick. It was a license exam.
It was a license exam back
yeah,
then.
regional
Yes,
license
yes.
exam. Sick. Yeah, there's still regionals. It just I miss the branding. That's the one thing. Like, I'm not the biggest MHA fan. Everyone knows that. But, like, I miss the fact that we had a theme, you know? The provisionals were, like, you're learning to be a hero. And the regional license exam was, like, you get your hero license. I always thought we should have had a trophy that was a literal, like, pro hero license. And it has, like, your name on it. But I pitched that. We didn't get those.
Yeah, no, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was playing Deku 3. You know, that was the chibi Deku that cared about how many characters and you know,
character stacker Deku.
Yes.
Yeah, bring back character stacking.
Yeah. And it's the first time I had ever met Mitchell Chimino in person. It's actually where Ryan and I bonded, and I truly do not believe, you know, we would be business partners now if it wasn't for Gen Con and, of course, UniVersus. And so this yesterday, this weekend has actually been absolutely fantastic and
sick
and a dream come true, honestly, for me, because I've met so many great people, so many great friends, and this game has changed my life for the better, which is not something I think you can say about, you know, a lot of games.
Yeah, you love to hear a feel good story of people coming together. I mean, that's, you know, as people get older, I don't know how many super young UniVersus fans we have, but it took me a weirdly long time to learn that, you know, as much as it is that we enjoy doing UniVersus, it really is about the community at the end of the day. It's about the time you spend because, you know, at the end of the day, there is so many different games. You know, I learned a lot of it playing kickball and just like a recreational kickball league where it's like, it's not even so much like I can play kickball with anybody.
Yeah.
It's about finding the right group. It's about finding your herd, your people, and things like that. So you love to hear a story of people coming together and just having a good time and making memories forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Tam, we're getting sentimental over here. We're officially at the sappy part of the time killing. So they are working on the top cuts. Here's our top cut players. Here we go. There we go. I knew it was pretty close. Hey, Ryan Levine made it in 8th place on Armored All Might.
My goat, Ryan Levine, in 8th place on Armored All Might. This is actually when I mentioned earlier how I should know what Battle Holds the Answer does. It's because I play tested against Ryan leading up to this and saw him play it over and over again.
Then we got Nathan DeWalt in 7th place on Void Rodan. Not surprised to see Nathan DeWalt in top cuts. I said he's due.
Okay, then we got Cole Hyatt on King Ghidorah 3-headed monster. Actually, 3-headed monster performing much better than I thought it would perform coming into this event.
Me too. I thought it was just an LC deck, but then
I think 5th place is either one of two things. Either we have a Mitchell Chimino in 5th place, or we have Justin Martin on Puma in 5th place.
This is leftover from Vegas, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that we'll get that corrected as soon as we can because they're actually announcing it in the room.
Yeah.
So listen for 5th place as we go through
I'll be able to correct it.
Because we got Justin Martin listed as Mitchell Chimino by accident. So
all right, in 4th place, we have Gavin K. Again, on that King Ghidorah 3-headed monster.
Yeah. And then we got to see Gavin. Then Zach Richards we also saw on stream.
Yep. And then we have Jeff Kaufman, Rodan, Giant Monster aside. I mean, again, I thought it would be the most represented deck in the room. It was the most represented deck, and 3 of them converted to the top 8.
Yep, and your Swiss champ once again, Andrew Porat, once again on the Void or on a Rodan. I believe it's supposed to be the Void symbol.
Himself another juicy regional win. Give it up for Justin
So
Martin.
Justin Martin is in 5th place,
Yes.
and he's on Pumat. Not Mitchell Chimino.
Yeah, that's what the pause was right there. So they were actually giving the announcement in the room, so we were checking to see what the answer was. Yeah, Andrew being in first, I mean, not the most surprising thing.
Not surprised
especially
at all.
on a deck that he knows better than anybody else. Well, I would assume better than anybody else in
It's
his
a
list.
comfort pick for
Yes,
him at this
yes.
point. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Probably for Jet and Nate too.
Yeah.
Nathan DeWalt, I've seen block a million attacks in my life, so Rodan definitely not a surprise at all. The only real surprise for me here, I guess truly is that Zeke Beastine. That was not on my radar
Yes.
at all. The three-headed monster was like a very popular deck, but Beastine was not. So that was really the biggest surprise. So congrats to Zach Richards for being the big surprising pick. No Deku here, a little surprising. No Pony is surprising.
Right. Again, I think it was just cannibalism early in the match, them getting paired against each other. The pony on pony
Bracketology.
hype. Yes.
Bracketology is very underrated in our game. But yeah, that's Levi doing our Top Cuts announcements here. I believe we're getting started tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. 9:30 a.m. is when the stream is supposed to be getting started. We should have top 8 going by 10 o'clock, and then we should have those secret rares, some information on secret rares and those alt arts and things like that. So we're gonna have a lot of good, juicy UniVersus action for you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I can't wait to see those secret rares. I can't wait to see this top 8. I'm gonna try my best not to be biased on who will win, but of course, as I mentioned earlier, Ryan Levine being my business partner, one of my closest friends.
He's got to be Andrew Porat on Rodan, the absolute menace of the format. But if there's anyone who can do it, I believe in Ryan Levine.
Yeah,
Ryan Levine topped his first ever UniVersus event, which is not an easy task at all.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see what happens. Either way, I'm proud and happy that he made it to top 8.
Well, we've been here for way too long today, way too long tonight, and we're going to be here way too long tomorrow as well. But we're going to see you bright and early tomorrow morning for your UniVersus Top 8 here in Dallas. I'm Sam Tate for the last time tonight. I'll see you tomorrow morning. This is Tito. We're going to see you guys tomorrow morning.
All right, bye-bye.